us? No, we're not.
We are basking in the sunshine of the Lady Bay ground, home of Nottingham Rugby, and it will be the scene of Game 2, Round 1 of BUCS Super Rugby 2018. New kids on the block. Nottingham Trent play host to the powerhouses that are the University of Exeter. Kickoff is at 4:45, but coverage starts now with me and my man who's always willing to run a generous support line, Hugo Southwell, and we're lucky to be joined by Matt Everard, who is WAS Academy coach and Nottingham Rugby player. In fact, we only have him for 15 minutes because he's got to shoot off and prepare for their crunch match against Hartbury afterwards. How are you, gents?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, very well. Yeah, look forward to the game.
Thanks very much for joining us. So, Matt, we'll get as much out of you as possible before you got a jet.
Yeah.
These boys have had a long pre-season, 9 weeks long. You must be pumped to see them out in action finally.
Yeah, the NTU boys are looking pretty good, Nick, and ready to go. A lot of them, just looking through the team sheet then, have been involved with us. So a lot have come in and done pre-season with us, a lot of full-time professionals. And actually 1 to 15, everyone has represented Nottingham Rugby somewhere along the line, whether it's the academy, in the British and Irish Cup or in the Championship. So there's a few full-time pro players out there playing today in the Uni League.
So while they're the new kids on the block, they are certainly no mugs. They've got big game experience playing against quality teams, and I imagine the system drops down from Nottingham into the university that you guys employ in the Championship.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They play very, very similar structure to us, very similar plays. The head coach, Neil Fowkes, so he's actually the director of rugby of NTU. He's our forwards coach at Nottingham, and Alex O'Dowd, who's our backs coach, is the backs coach for NTU. So it's a direct transfer across the two, and then the academy kind of feeds into that as well. So with the three working together, all trying to feed up to Nottingham first team.
Mate, good stuff. And Hugo, they are an unknown quantity to a degree, but we got a glimpse of them last season. You were there when they played Cardiff Met in the knockouts, and they almost caused a huge upset.
Yeah, there was glimpses in that game of how good they are going to be this year. We look at the playoff games they played. They won by 100 points over 2 games aggregate against Bristol. So they are a quality side. We probably didn't get to see enough in that Cardiff quarter-final because of the way the weather was just horrendous. They were knee deep in mud. It wasn't the sort of game that we're used to getting much out of. But they are a team that are on the up. We've already heard from Matt about the link between the university and the club, and it makes for a good game against one of the top sides from last year.
You mentioned the torrential rain there in that Cardiff Met match. I spoke to John Hargreaves, the captain, earlier today, and he said it was very much a game of two halves, that they went 19 points down and they eventually lost 19-17. So they're going to need to start early, which is the problem that they encountered last year. Yeah,
and they had a chance actually in the last minute to win it. They had a try disallowed in the last minute against Cardiff Met. So they were right in there against a decent side. Last year they lost their first 3 games. They have to start better in this. There's no time to catch up in this league, and it's going to be crucial. They're 9 and 10 are going to be crucial, controlling the game against a very good Exeter side.
Well, yeah. So you need a quick start on a game level, but from a league level, you need also the same, because last year they lost all 3 of their first matches, but then went on to win them all. And then obviously here they are now in BUCS Super League.
Yeah, I mean it's a huge step up. Let's be honest. They've played teams last year that on their day are very good, but not consistent enough. This is a consistent league. Every team you come up against is very, very sharp. So it's gonna be a real test. It's gonna show us where this Nottingham side sit in this newly formed league, which is now 9 teams.
Matt, where do you think their strengths lay as a team? Where are they going to go to seek quality ball and front momentum?
That's a good question. Looking at their front row, actually all 3 of them have been heavily involved with our first team at Nottingham, so you hope they'll set a good foundation, the set piece. Scrum time, line out, driving line out is going to be a big part of the game, so I think they'll take a lead from that. And then both halfbacks, Alex Crocker and Will Sutton, both again involved with us. Alex has come out of WAS Academy, and Will Sutton came out of Leicester Academy a couple of years ago and came into Nottingham Academy, progressed and worked through. So, between the power of the front row and hopefully the savvy of those 2 halfbacks, I think they'll take a hold of the game.
So in the game on Wednesday between Bath and Leeds Beckett, the back row's had a huge impact on the match. You're a marauding 7, terrorising 10s in their nightmares. What about the Nottingham Trent back row?
Yeah, it's a strong back row. A few guys come in, a few guys, pushing me, make me feel a little bit old on a daily basis, which is nice. But no, they're a great set of lads, and they all work hard for each other. And they're all a close bunch of mates.
minutes, they're just going to have to get up as quick as possible, put guys like Ted Landry under pressure. If he's given time on the ball, we have to be on their guard.
Right, so you raised Ted Landry, you talk about the importance of half-back partnerships. Trent have got Crocker and Sutton there. Yeah. Those guys can control a game?
Yeah. As I mentioned, they both have come out of Premiership Academies, so they've got a good grounding, the two of them together. Both a good set of core skill sets, and then kind of the game savvy and organising a game at Championship level, which they've had to been lifted up to, they've got now with being involved with us. Neil Fowkes and Alex O'Dowd have done a fantastic job with both of them at the university and at Nottingham. And on the defence, Neil Fowkes is actually our defence coach at Nottingham and then director of rugby at NTU, so hopefully some of that will transfer across. How
do you guys approach defence? Are you blitzing off the line as quick as possible?
I think if you look at...
without giving too much away of the inner sanctum of Nottingham Rugby.
No, I think if you look at successful defences across the board now, it's all about line speed. It's all about line speed and getting off the line as much as you can, and I'm sure we'll see NTU employ that tonight.
So, just coming back to those halfbacks and the importance of them controlling the game, Connor Lloyd was magnificent on Wednesday. There was a lot of guys who put their hands up across the board from both teams, but he was potentially the difference between the sides.
Yeah, I think Connor Lloyd was outstanding around the fringes. What you want from your 9 is to attract the defenders around the ruck, and he did that every single time. And what he did do well is he had the ball in both hands. He was always square to the defence, so he always kept them honest. And if they drifted off, he went through the hole. If they stayed tight, he just gave it to one of his forwards, one of his Harry Collier in the centres. So it was a really, really good performance from him. But also Sam Fox at 10. What was most impressive in those conditions from Sam Fox at 10 was every time he took the ball, he took it there in front of him. And that gave his outside backs. I know that's what you should be doing in dry conditions, but in wet conditions, I can assure you, and Matt will vouch for this, it's not that easy just to say every ball is a 10 there under pressure. He did that. His outside backs had loads of space, and it proved. I mean, you look at these plays out the back. You want your forwards, not just in terms of their ball skills, but their decision making at the line. They take the ball to the line. The defence is tight. They've got the option of getting out the back to whoever it will be today, Ted Landry at 12. That's where you want Ted Landry. Just getting in a bit of space, created by those forwards running those hard lines, and the ball, and then there's space out wide from the backs to attack. So, it's key to the game going forward, and I'm sure we'll see Matt involved in a lot of that today.
Hopefully.
Yes, exactly. How are you feeling about the big game against Hartpury?
Yeah, I can't wait. Hartpury have come up and done a pretty fantastic job. They drew with Yorkshire on the weekend just gone, who obviously made it to the final last year, and pushed pretty close for promotion in that.
Okay, and hopefully the Trent boys are going to put in an absolute performance and inspire you guys to great things as well. I'm not sure how we're doing for time, but if you need to head off, we really appreciate your comments,
cool.
Matt.
Thanks a lot, Matt.
All the best this evening.
Guys. All the best. See you, mate.
Right, so just you and I, Hugo. Hot date for 2 at the Lady Bay. So we got to move on to Exeter. They are a Rolls-Royce team in the BUCS League. Just watching them turn up, they have a huddle in the middle of the park at the start all together, talking about what their roles are, what their expectations of each other are. They are here to win. They're here to win the championship.
Yeah, I think I'd just like to focus on two things. I spoke to Keith Fleming before, who's the director of rugby at Exeter Uni. You've already mentioned Hayden Thomas as well as one of their coaches, but what he was going on about, I mean, I said to him, how are you feeling? How's it looking? Yes, they came up yesterday. They didn't make the trip this morning. They came up yesterday. They're really revved to go for this game, well prepared. They're a well-drilled side. That's one thing we noticed last year, and that's down to Keith Fleming. He's really got the best out of this team. And I expect them, yes, you look at the squad, there is a few new faces in there, but I still expect, with the structures they have in place, and you've already talked about the relationship with Exeter Chiefs, with the other clubs in the southwest, Plymouth, Albion and Cornish Pirates, they've got such good structures in place. It makes it so easy for anyone coming into this squad to make it happen, and I believe this Exeter side will be very, very strong again this year. Yeah,
so as you said, there's currently 5 Exeter alumni playing for Cornish Pirates. There's a plethora of players at Plymouth Albion. Of Sam Skinner, last year's lock, he made his Premiership debut last week for the Chiefs. It's almost like Devon versus the rest of the country, Devon and Cornwall. It's becoming a little bit unfair, like this big system they're creating.
Yeah, and I think what's so pleasing to see is, we spoke on Wednesday about the Bath Uni and the Bath Rugby new 3-year partnership. We've already heard from Matt there about Nottingham players filtering in and just sharing game time, in whether at uni or in the professional game. We've also then, you go to Exeter, these guys just filter in and out of the semi-professional to professional leagues, and it just really gets them ready for when they make that step up to Premiership rugby, which is ultimately the goal for them. It becomes a lot easier, and that is the goal of this. Is everyone wants to get to that level. They've now got an opportunity.
However, the victim of this success, and we spoke about it on Wednesday, that the nature of university rugby is it is cyclical, and Exeter have lost some huge names. You mentioned before Tom Lawday at 8, Matt Ellier at 7, Sam Skinner at lock. They've lost loads of guys who are incredibly impressive players. How do they fill that void?
Yeah, well, it's difficult to fill that void, but as I say, I think it's what goes on behind the scene and the structures and everything that's set up by both Hayden Thomas and Keith Fleming that gives the players the opportunity to thrive, and they definitely have that at Exeter. There's no doubt about it, and I wouldn't be concerned with how they're going to perform tonight. They are one of the top teams. They have been for years alongside Loughborough. We saw Leeds Becker on Wednesday coming back from the dead after 14 losses last year, and they put in a performance that is worthy of us already saying they're going to be in the mixer come the end of the year. They really were, for me, that good in terrible conditions. So, I'm excited to see this league this year. I think it's going to be far more competitive. I feel the teams at the bottom will be far closer to the teams at the top.
Yeah.
And that will be summed up by today. By today's result, Nottingham expected probably to sit in the bottom half of this league against one of the top teams in Exeter. So a great measure to show us where both teams are at.
Well, before we came here today, before the teams were announced, I feared for the worst a little bit for Nottingham Trent. New boys coming up, playing an established side who have real strength and depth. But then you look at the Nottingham Trent side, all these Nottingham boys with championship experience. These guys should be able to hold their own against an Exeter team that has a lot of fresh faces. So I think, are they going to be driven on by that final heartbreak as well last year?
Yeah, I think so. I think you always are. You look at the best teams when you go up a notch. You go up to the Saracens and the Exeter in the Premiership. How long did it take them to get to where they wanted to get to? Probably 3 or 4 years of heartache. Saracens is the prime example, losing in Europe year after year at the latter stages, and then suddenly they can't lose now. They are back-to-back European champions, Premiership. They've won that however many times in the last few years. It takes a while to get to where you need to, and you need to have these losses to build that confidence, to build that sort of want to get back to doing it again, but going one step further. And I feel Exeter are probably there, ready to do it this year.
Yeah, it's a chance for them to exercise the demons of a final that many people thought they should have won. They should have taken the 3 points on the stroke of half-time. It came back to haunt them. So decision-making is going to be a priority for them as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, you win some, you lose some. They had confidence in their ability in their forward pack to do something different at that moment in time. The decision was made. They probably should have won it irrespective of that. But it's easy to look back when you've just lost by a few points. So they were against a very good Hartpury side. We've all seen what Hartpury have done, not just in getting up into the championship.
We're going to see most of them today against Nottingham in the champ.
They've got a huge squad as well. We saw what Exeter did against them, so it was hugely impressive. As I say, I've said it already. Exeter will be strong this year. How strong, we'll see tonight, and how they start the season.
Yeah, so the player that you mentioned before, and Exeter by no means a one-man band, but Ted Landry is back. He's doing a Masters. He scored 186 points last season, which is actually more than Leeds Beckett in their entirety. But he's not playing in his familiar position of 10. They've switched him to 12, so they've split that powerful half-back dynamic, and there's a new guy in there. What do you think the thinking is behind that?
I think maybe just to get a balance in their game. You know, James O'Cray at 10, Aaron Bagwell, we know he runs the game, little guy, but runs the game very well as well, very good kicking game. So I just think, just get him a bit further out, bring other players. You know, if you've got Ted Landry at 10, everything's going to go through Ted Landry. If you've got Ted Landry at 12, you know, you can mix it up between James McRae and Ted Landry, and Ted Landry can bring those outside runners into the game, the fullbacks, the wingers, you know, wider passes. So it just maybe gives you an idea of the way that they want to play rugby. They want to play a wider game by the looks of things.
And they're switching the point of attack as well, and I guess they're trying to create maybe like a George Ford, Owen Farrell, two ball handlers.
Exactly, and you'll see in defence, you know, when they're coming out of defence, you'll see probably Ted Landry and James O'Cray on either side for the kicking game as well. So they'll have all sorts of options. They'll be playing rugby with that sort of team. Those guys at 10 and 12, they'll be here to play rugby.
Mate, it's exciting times, exciting times. I think we're about 10 minutes from kick-off. As you can hear, the atmosphere is building nicely with some questionable tunes being put on by the DJ. But on a coaching point of view, you've got Neil Falk, who's coaching Trent. He's involved at Nottingham. Is University Rugby also creating a pathway for young coaches to get quality experience and then kick on into professional leagues?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard very often that coaches are doubling up on both. You know, to be a Nottingham Trent coach and a Nottingham Rugby coach is really interesting, but it also helps. I mean, all teams normally play, irrespective of whether it's Exeter Uni to Exeter Chiefs, they've all got a different game plan. So the transition can be quite difficult for players, especially in the pivotal positions, to move from university rugby to Premiership. It's not just the level, but it's also the game plans and how things have moved forward. But the fact that Nottingham have got the same coaches, they will play a similar type of rugby.
Yeah.
And that can only help those guys who come from playing on a Wednesday or a Friday night, on this occasion, with Nottingham Uni, to then go Nottingham Trent Uni to then go and play for Nottingham Rugby. So I think that's key going forward. And as you say, it helps the coaches as well, because exactly the same guys are doing the same thing on a Wednesday and a Saturday. So hugely motivating for them.
Yeah, and we spoke about it before, that when you give these young men the tools to be better players, and they appreciate that's important, they get that self-worth that they should be delivering what's put into them. That comes with the coaches, that comes from the S&C, that comes from coming up the night before and staying in a hotel. That certainly didn't happen in my day, and not in your day, Hugo. So,
not that old.
Well, I'm just saying that the game has moved on a lot. It's taken a long time for university rugby to catch up to the professionalism of the game at the top.
Yeah, no, it has, and I think what's best for these guys is, one, the cameras are on them, so you can't miss anything. If you have a good game, great. If you don't have a good game, well, everyone's going to see it. But also the coaches who are here tonight are going to then, if you play well for Nottingham Trent University, there's every chance you'll be playing the next week for Nottingham. And that's exciting. That is automatically giving you an opportunity to take it to the next level. And that is exactly what these guys are looking. It's a team game, but at the same time, these guys will be doing whatever they can as individuals to put in the best performances they can.
Yeah, it's an interesting marriage. You obviously want your team to win, but you want to shine as well, because there's so many eyes on this tournament now. There's a real legitimacy about the tournament. And again, Hayden Thomas was saying to me that it is such a shop window for guys that have been overlooked by academies. He was saying that they would like to have taken more boys from the graduating side from last year, but they've gone to other clubs. But a lot of these guys were off the radar previously. Yeah,
and I think that's a key point, is that university rugby in the past, you could just disappear. You could play university rugby and you wouldn't get noticed. Now, if you play well and you play well on a consistent basis, you are going to get an opportunity somewhere. And even if it's out of the university teams, if it's 2 or 3 players, this sort of competition has done its job, and that's the exciting thing. We spoke to Andy Rock, the Bath Academy manager, the other night.
That was great having him him on. He was very, very interesting, wasn't he?
Brilliant having him on, and he just gave an idea of the longevity of their partnership they're looking to maintain. And, you know, it's a 3-year deal, but it sounds as if it could go on for the next 10 years. They want to grow it. They want to make that another form of pathway alongside their academy to get players coming through to play for Bath Rugby, and that's exciting.
Could you see long-term this becoming more important than A-League rugby?
Yes, I could, because I think A-League rugby, you know, this sits normally on a Wednesday night. It's the middle of the week. A-League, you know, which doesn't suit a lot of clubs, but you know, because they might think, right, Monday evening, you can use those players from a Monday night to play at the weekend. But I think it just gives an opportunity, an extra opportunity. Whether it replaces the A-League, it gives an extra opportunity for guys to put their hand up. And then links are so close now with professional rugby that they will not get missed.
Well, the quality of rugby is one thing, but I've always had the sense that with the A-League, you're playing to get yourself into the first team, that you want to be noticed. You're not desperate to win the A-League, you're desperate to get out of the A-League team almost. Whereas when you're playing here at BUCS, you're creating a team atmosphere and you're nurturing that winning mentality, that togetherness, that you're driving towards a common goal, which is silverware.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think the A-League, the other thing with the A-League is that the team is different every single week. You know, you might play one week, they might play a really strong side and you can shine a bit more. You know, yes, so it's very much then based on an individual, whereas this is a team performance. It gets you ready for that step up, much more than the A-League. The A-League is literally, I'm going out there for myself.
It's every man for themselves.
Every man for themselves, and I think that creates a slightly different mentality in games. This for me, you know, I don't think it will replace the A-League, because it'll always have the A-League, but it will complement it very well, and it will give more of an opportunity for these guys to make it.
Yeah, I think because there's always well, there have been difficulties as well with games having to be cancelled because player unavailability, as you said, loaning in players to make up the numbers. That's not going to be an issue at university level. I was talking to John Hargreaves before the game, as I said. They had 250 players come for freshers trials this year. Exeter are running 8 BUCS men's teams. They've got 2 women's teams. Trent have got 6 men's teams, 2 women's teams. I mean, rugby is exploding at university level.
Yeah, I mean, it is exploding, and I think everyone's latching onto that. You know, the local clubs, Nottingham, you know, we spoke about Exeter. I'm looking forward to seeing that this year.
I think a lot of people, they look through rose-tinted spectacles at rugby, and they're a little bit critical of the professionalism of it, and the clubs are losing their club atmos. You look at someone like Richmond in the Championship. I know that they're semi-pro, but they have their first team, their performance team, and then they have 4 men's teams below that, and it creates a club feeling. You definitely have that at university because you've got the performance team in the first team, the BUCS Championship team who are vying for silverware. But you've got a load of boys below who love their rugby, enjoy getting out there, but they are buoyed by the achievements of the guys right at the top.
Yeah, and I think there's a balance, isn't there? There's a balance between, you know, focusing too much on where you want to get to, but also enjoying. We spoke to Andy Rock again. Sorry to go back on that, but he spoke about the rounded individual. He spoke about the opportunity you get at universities to. It's not just about the rugby, it's about life.
Yeah.
And I feel very strongly about it. I went to university and turned professional at 22, and I feel that the life at university made me a more rounded individual. It gave me it didn't make me too serious when I came into professional rugby. I didn't take myself too seriously, and that gave me longevity in my career without a shadow of a doubt. And I feel that these guys, once they come out, they've got their degree, they've got a bit more about them to go out there. The guys at 18 are picked up by clubs and sometimes fizzle out 2021. They don't make it because they're just too focused on being the biggest person, the quickest person, and if they don't make it, you know, it's
what's next?
What's next? Whereas these guys, they've got options. You know, there's not as much pressure, there's not as much stress.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to find a more eloquent phrase, but you can become rugbyed out if you're just too immersed in it from the word go.
Yeah, and I've seen guys who are you know, immersed in it, and it has backfired on them. You know, they're in the gym every day. There's a be all and end all, and you know, their diet is you can only have boiled chicken rather than boiled chicken with a bit of a sauce on it. You know, is that going to make you a better rugby player? No, it's not. Just chill out. You and focus on being a bit more relaxed. And for me, that was my attitude through my whole career. And you know, I had a good 12 years at it. So
you did all right, Hugo.
Yeah.
Nice little trip to Paris in there.
Not many medals, but 12 years of not many trophies, but 12 years of playing rugby. You know, it was just, for me, it's about getting that rounded individual, and we'll see a lot of those guys hopefully who develop through this league this year.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got a few fans that are starting to pile in now. Exeter are moving into the sheds. Bit of head banging, some bum slaps. You know, I don't know how they do it these days at uni, but they're pretty professional outfits. So I'm sure they've got something up their sleeve. Right, so head on the chopping block, Hugo. Who's going to win?
I think it's a tough call. I think, you know, having spoken to Matt about the development of this Nottingham side, I think it's a really tough call.
Exeter, though, the travelling team today, well, they are the 2016-2017 second places in the BUCS Super Rugby, and of course narrowly lost out to Hartpury in the BUCS Rugby Championship final earlier this year. Just a bit of a summary of the BUCS Super Rugby this year. There are 9 teams, the 8 originals from last season, the 9th being Nottingham Trent, who kick off their season today. Each team will play 16 fixtures. And if you're a regular viewer of our BUCS Rugby streams, you'll no doubt seen Wednesday night's cracking fixture between Bath and Leeds Beckett, with the Northern lads coming out on top in that game. We'll just take you through the lineup and perhaps go over a few of the key players in the sides today. Nottingham Trent, coached by Neil Felks and Alex O'Dowd, both Nottingham Rugby first 15 coaches. Number 1, Jamie Jack. At hooker, Jake Farnworth. 3, Cecil McCarthy. In the second row, Ben Davis-Moore, Tim Cardell, both Nottingham Rugby first 15ers. At 6, Seb Cecil. 7, Grant Snelling. 8, Mike Osdilly. At 9, Alex Crocker. We've been told keep an eye out for him. 10, Will Sutton. Rob Waldron on the left wing. Harry Clempson and Callum Hall, the captain, at 12 and 13. David Williams, another Nottingham man, at 14, and Max Craven at 15. Exeter, coached by Keith Fleming. For them, their team today features 8 of the players who lost in the final at Twickenham earlier this year. Will Cutbill, George Gosling and Aaron Coombs in the front row. Simon Linsell, the captain, enigmatic last season. Jack Rouse in the second row. Rue Madison, McRae in the back row. Half-back pairing of Aaron Bagwell and Sam Morley. Dom Thorne, Sal Mabogue on the wings. Ted Landry, Kieran Kelly in the centres, and Mike Haynes at fullback. And at this point, let me introduce Hugo. You've already heard him today and his thoughts. Hugo, not sure what to expect from the boys in pink today, but could be a close contest.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how they front up. We've already talked about the start of last season. First 3 games they really struggled, and then they came onto it, and you know, we saw what happened in that playoff against Bristol, completely one-sided over 2 legs, and what a test for them. You know, Exeter first up at home, crowd coming in, still building up for the second game as well, Nottingham Hartpury. But you know, this is going to be a great test for Nottingham, and really show where they are after a long pre-season.
Of course, Friday night lights tonight. This game, the first of 2 fixtures, the championship game between Nottingham Rugby and Hartpury. Kick-off at 7:45. But here on BUCS Super Rugby, we've got the University of Exeter and Nottingham Trent battling it out. Trent, though, managing to steal that one inside the Exeter 22. Davis Moore taking that one into contact with a big carry. Crocker now moving it outside. Fumbled, though, just outside the Exeter 22. Referee calling a knock on there.
Just see a couple of nervy moments there. You know, Nottingham, you can see their setup, see what they're trying to do, getting the 3 forwards. There's an option for 9 there, but he just took his eye off the ball. He saw the Exeter defence flying up, and unfortunately a knock on. They had an opportunity for a mistake from Exeter just to build some momentum, build some phases, and get themselves into the game. That's what they can't do against this Exeter side. You know, go through 2 phases and then make a mistake. They've just got to hold on to the ball and build the continuity.
Certainly a frantic start. Both been down on the pitch there, and it looks like a fantastic turf, a great condition, very flat. There's been a bit of rain this morning, I think, over in Nottingham, but it seems quite dry underfoot, so maybe some running rugby today. Yeah, pretty good conditions for both sides. I know, looking at the setup, we spoke about Exeter, they'll be wanting to play rugby, but likewise Nottingham Trent, first game at home, wanting to put on a show. McRae picking the ball up from the back of the scrum, moving it down the near touchline. Skipped through by Bagwell, the scrum half. He looks for support. McRae picking up, finding the hands of Jack Rouse, the big second row for Exeter. Bagwell moving it wide again, looking for the space. Bit of a fumble there by Exeter. Is there a chance for Trent to find some holes? Unfortunately not. The referee has called the knock on, so it will be a scrum to the boys in pink, just inside the Exeter half, 15 metres in from the far touchline. Yeah, and we can see what Ted Landry is in at 12-4 there. He just sat in behind, got the ball in behind the forwards, and just create that extra width, that extra pass. But you've got to give credit to the Nottingham defence. They flew up. Matt Everard said beforehand they're going to play a rush defence. That's the way the game's going at the moment. And if you get it right, it's very hard to play against. And you know, we saw there, forced a knock on, another opportunity here just to keep hold of the ball. Speaking to a few of the Trent rugby guys before, they were saying they've not played many games. They've played 3 games against some local universities and not played as many games, I don't think, as they would have perhaps wanted, but looking in good shape here early on. We'll look to move the ball wide, taken flat, crashed up by Clemson. Clemson looking for some support here in the midfield. A one-up carrier there, needs some support. Exeter don't challenge the ruck. Again, crashed in by Clemson. A big lad in the centre there, wouldn't want to be hit by him. Again, another big smash. Cardle for Trent, one of the Nottingham rugby professionals. Referee just getting in the way there of Crocker. Again, one-up runners from Trent, not really cutting through the holes much. Trying to break around the outside. Shirking off a few outside shoulders. Good intent, though, from Nottingham Trent. Just tackled in the midfield there. They are trying to move the ball, but perhaps not a lot of continuity at the moment, Hugo. They're going left and right, not really any direction. Yeah, no, they had a scrum over on the right-hand side, exactly where they are now at the moment. They've gone through about 9 or 10 phases and not really made any ground, but that's down to the Exeter defence. You know, they're not competing unless there's an opportunity like that. Brilliant work on the floor. And that's the only time they've actually competed, when they've seen an opportunity. And the decision-making from Exeter in defence, outstanding on that set. Straight through the middle from the big boys in green. They're now trying to move it through the hands of the backs. Landry, last season's top point scorer in the BUCS Super Rugby, through his palms as he looks to clear out some pink tacklers. Again, trying to look for quick ball. They have men over. Skipping through some tackles, McRae back with the ball in hand. A prop on the wing. What is he doing over there? But a great run straight through the Trent fullback. Exeter once again looking for some holes in the midfield. Morley trying to find a gap. Gets taken down by Crocker, the Trent scrum half. Rouse into contact. Good support from the Exeter carriers. Captain Simon Linsell. What a season he had last year. I'm sure he's got memories of that final in Twickenham and wants this day to start a potential gold rush for them. Great offload there into the hands of Thorne. Played in that final at Twickenham back in March. Referee, though, not rolling away for Trent, so potentially opportunity here.
You'd have to say Ted Landry with his kicking prowess, he's going to go for 3 points here. Just get the scoreboard ticking over, away from home. You just want to get that scoreboard ticking and make it difficult, especially with they've got a slight breeze with them, the Exeter University. But what a set that was. They went through all the sort of everything, every bit about their game there. You know, they went tight, they went wide, as you say, they had a prop on the wing there, but they really kept their width. And what I like about this exercise, we saw it last year, they're so well drilled. You know, they know their roles. Every single player on that pitch knows exactly what their role is, and for that reason, the structure of their game works so well, and it's very difficult to defend against.
It's almost as if all the players are happy to interchange positions. They know where to be, and of course we just saw Aaron Coombs out on the wing, but it touches on what Joe was saying earlier on, whereas the forwards have been doing a lot of handling skills throughout their pre-season. Yeah, very much so, and that's exciting to see. You know, that's the way the game's going. So you know, if they can develop that as the season goes on, they'll be, like they always are, a force to be reckoned with. Ted Landry looking for first blood here. And that's straight through the sticks here at Lady Bay. First blood to Exeter. 6 minutes on the clock.
What I like about the look of the back line as well, you know, you talk about the forwards doing all the dirty work, but we spoke about the sort of George Ford, Farrell axis. It looks the same with Sam Morley and Ted Landry, both very, very good ball players. And the early clips of so far of Sam Morley, he looks a very good footballer.
Very composed there. Automatically trying to clear it, but it's taken into the hands of Craven. An opportunity perhaps for Trent to run, but no, they put a Gary Owen. Exchanging up and unders with Mike Haynes, but it's well taken by the Exeter fullback. A good tackle though from Sutton of Trent. Slow ball for Exeter, trying to set up some territory and possession. Skip through the gap by Morley, and Hugo was right, he does look like a good footballer. Back to the hands of Bagwell. Bagwell taking it into contact, needs some support. Around the back of a forward pod. Landry with a little pop out into the hands of their speedsters, and they've got 3 men here. This could be a first try. A great show and go by Mike Haynes. Can he get over? Just held up inches from the line. How did he not score that? Unbelievable. He had Salma Bogue, his right winger, just outside of him. All he had to do was pop it to him. Just saying it's held up. Can you believe it?
I tell you what, the two guys outside him will be screaming at him. All he had to do was run at the outside shoulder of the last defender. Brilliant work. The two ball players there, first Landry, then to Sam Morley, and what a pass over the top. But there, just run at the outside shoulder of the last defender and then pop it to the two guys on the outside. You've got your winger there. Yeah, they have to finish that, and that's key moments like that could come back to haunt them. We don't want to mention 3 points in front of the sticks in the final last year. Got Hartbury they turned down, but those sort of things, you know, they could have been 10 or 8 or 10-0 up now.
Certainly a great show and go by Haynes, but really he should have put his right winger McBogue away there.
Yeah, if you do that, you've got to finish it. You know, if you go yourself, you have to finish it. I would know that.
Yeah. Off the scrum then, taken into contact by Mabogue. He's now got the ball in hand. Crashed up through James McRae, big ball carrier. Saw him last year. Again, another crash ball. Dotted over the line though, and what an absolute rocket through the heart of the pink defence. Exeter take the first try here at Lady Bay. Just trying to work out who scored that one. We'll have a look again. Originally taken in by McRae. And I think that was
skipper, isn't it?
Simon Linsell, the skipper, and what a fitting way for him to kick off his 2017-2018 season, losing captain in the final last year.
Yeah, what a line that was. You know, he really did come at it hard. And first of all, set up by James McRae. James McRae, big shoes to fill. Tom Lauday at 8 last year, who's now at the Cornish Pirates. You know, it was an outstanding 10 tries for him last year. So James McRae has to step up. So far, first 10 minutes, he's done that. But what a line by the captain there to finish that off. Tell you what, Mike Haynes will be pretty pleased with that after bombing the try out wide. He'll have his forwards to thank for it. Yeah, certainly will. I'm sure he'll have a few, let's say, challenges on the bus on the way home this evening. Successful conversion from Ted Landray. Similar position to his penalty just moments ago. 10 minutes on the clock, and it's 10 points to the home side's nil. And you have to say they've started brilliantly, haven't they, Exeter? They've mixed their game up so well. You know, a nice night for it, but at the same time, they've really taken the game to this Nottingham side. And attacking-wise, they're lethal. Defensively, they're so organised and they're not committing to the breakdown. They're just fanning out across the pitch and saying, if you've got to produce some sort of magic to break us down. Well taken from the kick-off by Sam Mabogue. Exeter looking to move this one. Perhaps going to clear their lines here. Bagwell setting that high into the East Midlands sky. All fumbled though by Waldron of Nottingham Trent. Seems to me as if that was his first touch of the game, and not a great one for his BUCS Super Rugby debut. Yeah, as a winger, you know, with high balls like this, you want to gain some confidence. You want to get the first one under your belt, not a hard catch, not under too much pressure. He's got to take that. But what an embarrassment of riches for kicking game for Exeter. You know, Aaron Bagwell at 9, Landry at 12 with the right foot, and then you've got Morley with the left foot at 10. So real options whenever they're coming out of defence. The exit game, especially after you've just scored a try, is so vital. And yes, that wasn't right on the money, but it's forced an error, exactly what they wanted. Yeah, perhaps not the best option from Exeter, but they've managed to get lucky, and they will now have some territory just outside the Nottingham Trent 10-metre line. Perhaps though, Waldron there getting slightly frazzled, just trying to catch that in front of the Exeter bench maybe. So yeah, he was probably getting a bit of chat down there. But you've got to make those takes. It's basic errors there, sort of unforced errors. That's what you've got to keep down when you're playing a side of this quality. You don't want to give them opportunities, especially in your own half. And here it is, another one. It's quite relentless at the moment from Exeter. A few words coming from the Exeter pack there. Ruthless, ruthless, ruthless. And Bagwell will have the put in at the scrum. 6 metres in from this near touchline. Great turf down there. Right in front of us here. Well structured from both teams. Great scrum. Referee going to reset this one. Yeah, that's right underneath us. We can see how good a scrum that was from Nottingham. They'll be really looking they've got to get a platform, whether it's in set piece or in some part of the game here, to get them into it. Could this be a bit of, we've seen in University Rugby, we mentioned it in the Barfleet-Beckett game the other night, that there's so many momentum swings in University Rugby, and these are the times where you just put your marker down. These two props, are very experienced, playing for Nottingham Rugby at the weekends as well, so huge moments here. Solid platform, but big heave. Have the boys in pink won it? No, it's in the hands of Exeter's McRae. McRae taking it into contact.
Looking to move it quickly through the hands of Rouse. Absolutely ran over Will Sutton there. That's a Nottingham Rugby player, and he's just been sat down into the hands of Landry. He looks very calm and collected, doesn't he, on the ball? Mike Haynes being sat down there by David Williams of Nottingham Trent. Into contact. Look how quickly they've moved from one side of the pitch to the other and gained 20 metres, if not more. Landry again into the hands of his big number 8, McRae. McRae taking on 4 tacklers there, gaining 10 metres. Great support. Big crash there between the 2 opposing props. Oof, almost a fumble by Morley, but he's got out of that like a rat down a hole. Referee going back for the earlier infringement. I think he's saying a high tackle over there. And that will be a penalty.
And it really is all Exeter at the moment, isn't it? And the thing they're struggling with at the most in defence is they just can't get set because the ball is so quick. You know, when they take the ball in, they're always getting over the gain line, mainly with James McRae. You know, the captain is on Jack Rouse there as well on this occasion, just busting over, just making that extra yard. And what that's doing is that no one can get on the ball. They get quick ball Exeter, Bagwell gets it away, and the defence isn't set. And Landry, that's all he needs. He needs a sniff in that outside channel to create the space for the likes of Mike Haynes. So, yeah, really good play from Exeter up till now.
Ted Landry always looks like he's got time on the ball. He's everywhere, and he's just seems to know how to time the pass, doesn't he? He's got a great pair of hands.
He's got a great pair of hands, and I really like the look of Sam Morley so far. He's giving him a bit more space and a bit more time on the ball as well. And, you know, he doesn't really need that, Ted Landry, but he's getting it tonight at the moment, and could be, if it continues like this, a long night for Nottingham Trent.
Yeah, interesting choice though from Exeter to kick for the corner instead of going for the penalty.
Yeah, I think they're pretty confident in how the first 10-15 minutes has gone, and you know, this is key moments in the game. Nottingham Trent, you feel, concede again, the game could start to run away from them.
Yeah, I think it was almost quite clear from the opening moments that the amount of men and support to players that Exeter had, they were really trying to commit to this game and put a lot of speed behind the ball, and you've seen that with the quick ball from the hands of Bagwell out the back of the rucks. Yeah,
and the focus that they've shown. You know, I was talking about it before the game, in the huddle on halfway line. You know, I feel that this is their year. You know, you look at the way they've played so far. You know, they don't want to end up losing finalists again. You know, they want to win this and take this BUCS Super League title. So, you know, great start for them in doing that.
In the pressure cooker, Nottingham Trent looked as if they'd almost stole that, but a good contest on the floor.
He was there, we're taking 3 scrums.
Cecil McCarthy there, the number 3 for Nottingham Trent, working hard to try and steal back possession. Another scrum though for Exeter. 10 or 15 metres out, 5 metres in from that far touchline. They lead 10 points to Nottingham's 0. 17 minutes played here in the first half. Patchy blue skies, beginning to chill slightly here in the East Midlands. A good night for rugby.
He didn't even touch the ball.
And the home side have that.
Didn't even touch the ball.
Big cheers from the Trent Army going around Lady Bay here. They know that was a big one. And as you were saying earlier, Hugo, just the changes in possession and tempo and big moments in the match, which give you a bit of breathing room.
Yeah, they had 2 lineouts there, pretty, you know, they'll back their lineout any day, driving lineout. They got shunted back a couple of times. They then fortunately probably awarded the scrum. That's one area from the first few scrums we've seen that Nottingham Trent look in the ascendancy. Their front row, we spoke about the experience they've got. You know, they're really getting stuck into them, and that could be key for this game. That could just about keep them in this tie, and you know, a long way to go, but that was a big moment.
Yeah, Trent just needs some possession at the minute. Try and give them attacking platform, but they've lost a perfectly good one from the line out there. Back into the hands of the captain and try scorer Simon Linsell, handing it over to his second row mate Jack Rouse. Straight through the middle once again. I feel that Trent just need to get slightly lower in the tackles. They're letting Exeter just go over them slightly. Skipped through there by Dom Thorne, the left winger. Morley looking for a gap. He's running backwards, running forwards. Out the back by McRae. Into the hands of Mabogue. Mabogue trying to go down the outside. He's handed off one. Back into the hands of his outside centre, Kieran Kelly. Kelly, the first time we've heard him in this game so far. Oof. Bit of a confusion between the two big men of Exeter there, and it's back in the hands of a pink shirt. Trying to create some breathing room, Trent. Need to get slightly deeper if they're to clear their lines here, but a real hot defence from Exeter. They're keen to get this one back. Slightly slower this time though from Trent. Just trying to calm down the tempo. Giving some ball carriers. Getting a bit of a setup into the hands of McCarthy. McCarthy, the big man, smashing over two Exeter tacklers. And that's sent long by Crocker. Well taken though. And it's into the hands of Mike Haynes. Mike Haynes taking it through the middle, just shy of halfway now. Bagwell looking for Morley. Morley looks as if he's got a skip in his feet. Into the hands of Kelly though, down this near touchline. He's fell by his opposite man, Callum Hall, the captain for Trent. Good pace on the ball. Oof, slightly low pass. And it's just come off the knee of the Exeter front row. Trying to find some space out on that far touchline are Nottingham Trent. Into the hands of David Williams. Williams skipping past one, but it's snatched back by Exeter. Frantic period of play here. Both teams stealing possession end to end, side to side. It's what we like to see, and this is what BUCS Super Rugby is about. Morley, though, not happy with this, trying to get some breathing room. Puts it just outside. Well placed and weighted kick there, but it's gone into touch, and it will be an Exeter line out, 30 metres from the Trent line.
And you have to say exactly what Sam Morley would have wanted. You know, poor kick from Nottingham Trent, but he's put it in there. There's too many knock-ons, too many errors. He just thought, right, sit back in the pocket and just change the game up. And in the end, a very good decision. But for me, Exeter Nottingham Trent having to work far harder. Every time they get the ball, they're having to go through 5, 6, 7 phases to get anywhere. Whereas Exeter, with their organisation, with their individual quality at the moment, making ground far more easily.
Certainly there's a few key players for Exeter making a difference, and here's a couple of them. Into the hands of Mabogue again, trying to go around the outside. Just bundled into touch, but the ball is still in play. Back into the hands of Haynes. Bagwell in like a light there. The ball was in and away. No chance for Trent to try and steal this one. Into the hands of Landry behind the back line. McRae taking this one in on the floor, back up again. Trent struggling to contain this powerful Exeter back row. Back on the floor again though, and that's a knock on. Breathing room for the boys in pink.
Yeah, the game's just got a bit sloppy over the last couple of minutes, but you feel that Exeter, if they keep hold of the ball, Nottingham far harder, but with Exeter, keep hold of the ball, go through the phases, the space will open up. They're just too good a team at the moment. They're just playing with such enthusiasm, and everyone wants to get their hands on the ball.
It's a difficult one at the moment for Trent. It just seems to me as if they've lost their control and structure, and not quite sure who their leader is at the moment.
Yeah, and they need to play in the right areas. You know, that we haven't seen. I don't think we've seen the ball over halfway line maybe once in the first quarter. So huge for them just to get down the other end and get some sort of territory and platform.
Good structure from the scrum though. If they can get a few of these, it'd be good for them. Down the far touchline then. Whew, big tackle from Exeter, stopping Trent right in their tracks. Crocker trying to find one of his forward compatriots. Chooses to go down the short side. Through the hands of Osdilly. Crocker again finding McCarthy, one of their big ball carriers, having a good game in the scrum so far. Sending that one high, perhaps not as long as they would have liked, but let's see who gets this one. Fumble, it could be into the hands of Waldron. Now is Waldron away, great kick on the outside of his right foot to keep the ball in play. They're after this one. Can Exeter get out the hole? Well tackled though by Trent. Good pressure here from them. On just outside the 5-metre line. Fumble again from Exeter. Good pressure here from Trent. They just need to set a solid defensive line. Keep the hot defence on. Landry with the big clearance kick. But it will be a line out for Nottingham Trent, 30 metres from the Exeter line.
Yeah, and what was noticeable about that is 2 or 3 phases, didn't try and go an extra 4 or 5, make the error, got the 10 back in the pocket, put that up and under, mistake from Mboj there on the wing, knocked it on, and that's how I feel they're going to get their points. I don't feel they've got the quality in this side. Okay, I haven't seen it yet where they're going to score from 80, 90 metres. You know, they're going to have to get territory, they're going to have to force errors out of this Exeter side and hopefully pick up the scraps.
Certainly feels as if Trent still need to build into this game. I'm sure we haven't seen their true colours on the pitch, although we may have seen it on their kit. Good line out ball, oof, just tapped down. That could have been a great platform for them then. Farnworth with a really solid dart from the line out, but just knocked to the ground whilst it's going into the hands of Alex Crocker.
Yeah, just Tim Cardle there as he went up to put the ball back down to his 9 to Crocker. Just not very sympathetic at all. Threw it down pretty hard, and I think he's so eager, Crocker, to get the ball out to his 10 that he just took his eyes off the ball as well. So when you get this platform, they just have to go through the phases. At the moment, every time they get the ball back from Exeter, when Exeter make a mistake, they make one that follows it.
Yeah, we know from Exeter that they're more than capable of controlling the game. I'm sure it would have been a difficult couple of months over the summer for them after losing both their crowns. You know, they were 2016 double champions this year, silver medalists, second places, and no doubt they would have had a picture of that trophy on their wall in the shadow of where it formerly was, I suppose. But
especially with Hartbury, relative neighbours in this league, I guess, and them winning the treble as well. So they won't want the same to be happening this year. They'll be going full out, as we said before the game, to really push home any advantage they get early on in the season.
It's really interesting that they've managed to retain 8 of the players from the squad of the final earlier this year, and that certainly helps with continuity going forward for this year. Chance for a counter-attack by Trent, taking it up the far touchline through Clemson. Clemson bundling over a few extra players. Osdilly trying to crash it up. Working hard here, Trent trying to create some sort of platform through the hands of their 10, Sutton. Sutton trying to move this one wide. Here's their hooker, straight through the middle. What a pair of gas. Farnworth looking for a man. He's got 2 on his left. Can Waldron go in the corner? Has he got the legs? No, he hasn't. Great offload on the floor though, into the hands of Cecil. Cecil bundled into touch. Waldron there, you thought he was in, but he seemed to have lost his legs somewhere around the halfway line.
Yeah, much better though, wasn't it, from Jake Farnworth, straight through the middle, just running those hard lines. The ball went out the back initially, and then a brilliant line from Farnworth. Just didn't have quite the legs on Mboj, who made 2 tackles here. You see here, what work rate. Gets back, tackles the winger, and gets back on his feet.
Was exceptional play. And
tackles Cecil into touch as well. Great work from the winger.
But it's moments like these that can really just get that energy boosting for a team like Nottingham Trent, who have been on the back foot so far this game.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? We've seen 20 minutes of total domination from Exeter, and then suddenly a few errors from Exeter, and they're back in the game. It's Nottingham Trent side, but here we go again.
Bagwell trying to go on his own there, skipped a few tackles. Hideous kick by Mboj into the hands of Craven. Craven now shipping it over to Williams. Can they go through the middle? Not really going anywhere. They just need to put some pace on it there and go straight through the middle. Need to keep their eyes open for some gaps. Very, very flat attacking line here from Trent. Keep this one slow, set up your platform. Sutton looking to send this one. Good option, perhaps not the best of kicks, but it's deep into the Exeter 22. Morley sending this one long with a left foot. Well taken by Sutton, back into the middle. Give themselves options. Craven, high, but not very far. Have they stolen this one off Exeter? No, they haven't. Still green ball on the halfway line. Again, Morley sending this one with his left foot deep. Strange bounce. But it's into the hands of Sutton. Sutton trying to launch some sort of counter-attack. Cecil trying for a bit of space here. Trent certainly have a bit more tempo about them at the moment. Frantic couple of minutes here. McCarthy looking strong in contact. A little dink over the top from Sutton. Have they still got it? No, it's knocked forward, I think. And the referee's going to call it back for a scrum to Exeter, just inside the Nottingham Trent half.
Yeah, a great option there from Will Sutton. He went to the line. It looked as if he was going to threaten the part outside of the foot. Aaron Bagwell was caught in defence on the wing here. He would normally be the guy tracking in behind. You can see him here just at the bottom of the picture. He's defending out on the wing there. So great vision and great option from Will Sutton. Just unfortunate the bounce didn't quite go their way. But they've definitely come back into the game. There's no doubt about it. They've got their game going a bit. They've realised where they've had a chat from the touchline about how they're going to play, 3 or 4 phases, and maybe just put it in behind, put pressure on that way, because going through the phases 5, 6, 7 times wasn't and hadn't been working for them.
Yeah, certainly. I think we were beginning to see more from every player on the pitch from Nottingham Trent, where it was only a few before. Sutton definitely coming into the game. 29 minutes played here. The visitors, Exeter unit, are leading 10 points to Nottingham Trent's 0.
And you have to say they'd be pretty happy with that. Nottingham Trent, after the start they had, you could have seen
could be a lot worse.
It could be a lot worse. It was 10-0. They were deep, camped in their 22 again. You expected it to almost be at that moment in time 17-0, 15-17-0. But now you feel if they can get a score before half time, 10 minutes to go, they've got a bit of a breeze behind them in the second half. It's still anyone's game.
Plenty to play for. A score before half time for Nottingham Trent would be good. Good position, good attacking platform, though, for the University of Exeter. Centre field just inside Trent's half. Try and look where everybody's positioned. They've flooded, it seems, the left-hand side, the far side of the pitch here. Morley just sitting slightly behind the scrum, 15 metres back or so. Left or right, which way are they going to go? Is McRae going to pick and go? He does, pops it to Bagwell. Bagwell out the back to Morley. Flat into the hands of Landry. Landry trying to crash through. Looking for options. Into the hands of Rouse. Rouse, big ball carrier in this game so far for Exeter. Morley once again sending it deep into the attacking line, taken up by Kelly. Kelly finding a gap in the middle. He's round 1 and he's round 2, still going. Looking for some support. Possession retained for Exeter, into the hands of Landry, looking to go wide once again. McRae, look at him go. Bright blue scrum hat. We've seen him everywhere on the pitch so far. Exeter University just seemed to produce back rows out of nowhere. Morley, Landry, wide pass into the hands of Haynes. Haynes, similar position to where we saw him, or should have scored earlier on down this near touchline. Taken into contact by Madison. Around the back to McRae via the hands of Kelly and Landry. Exeter choosing not to use the full width of the pitch. They come back to this near side through the centre of the field. The referee blowing his whistle here. A little bit of break in play. Not rolling away, Nottingham Trent. So potential to go for the post, and I think just in front of us we can see Simon Linsell going for the post. He wants his kicker, Ted Landry, to get the 3 points.
Yeah, and totally the right option. They've been under the cosh for the last 10 minutes. Suddenly they've got a few phases together. They've got themselves back in the game. Very, very sensible option. You saw there, it was Tim Cardwell just not rolling away. He makes the tackle. You can see there he's totally on the wrong side. Doesn't even attempt to roll away. And the ball's stuck underneath him, and you've got to make a better attempt than that. Very, very silly from him. Didn't need to concede it. They were seeming to absorb all the pressure from Exeter. But that's what I feel. I feel if Exeter just keep hold of the ball, points will come, whether it's penalties or tries. The way they play their game, very, very difficult to defend with the threats all over the pitch. You see James McRae, he's either tight, he's in the outside channel. Brilliant work rate from him.
Yeah, Tim Cardwell was like a placid seal on top of that ruck. Ted Landry here for the 3 points. 33 minutes played here. Bit of confusion, I think, there. There was water coming on for Trent, so just giving Landry the opportunity to reset. but a great evening for rugby and a great pitch as well, Hugo.
Yeah, no, it's a great surface and a great evening for rugby as well. And Ted Landry should make the most of that to take them to 13-0.
Straight through the sticks, and that takes the score to Nottingham 0 and University of Exeter 13. 34 minutes played, probably 6 or so minutes left in this half. I think Trent are trying to make a change here. Cecil McCarthy, their number 3, appears to be coming off for number 17, Ben Smith. So Ben Smith, perhaps a tactical change, it seems.
Yeah, he doesn't look injured, does he? So it's an interesting, especially the way they've started in the scrums, to take him off. But I think what Exeter will be pleased about, they've weathered the storm there. You know, real 5 minutes of where they're under pressure, a few errors from them, but they've weathered that. They've come away with their own 3 points. So good work.
Certainly is. More pressure from Trent. Exeter just inside their own 22 here. Bagwell to clear the lines. He sent that high. It's coming towards our commentary tower. And it's just gone out inside his own half. 49 metres, let's say, from his own try line.
Yeah, and a good, another good kick from Aaron Bagwell there. Exit plays absolutely crucial at this level, and as you go up higher as well. As soon as you score a try, get things set and just clear your lines. Don't make any silly errors. Don't give the opposition a chance to get straight back in the game.
Yeah, not straight there, straight in front of us, and you know, I think that was almost going over to Derby rather than down the middle of that line out, Hugo.
Yeah, so we've got a perfect view right up above that, and Jake Farnworth there missing his arrows. You can see it, looked at it straight, and then it's definitely not. And another opportunity, a definite curveball, another opportunity here for Exeter to launch an attack.
It's simple errors like that which just don't allow teams like Trent in their position at the minute. 13 points down, they need a bit of continuity in their play and not giving themselves the opportunity to do so. Referee, not sure if he was going to go for a card there, but just calling over the Trent captain, Callum Hall, for a bit of a chat, but a few afters there from Jake Farnworth of Nottingham Trent.
You have to say though, the referee is speaking about they have to make an attempt to get away. I totally agree. I mean, it's spoiling the game. Jake Farnworth there, lying in the way, didn't even, I mean, even if you just attempt, put your hands in the air and just make the referee think you're trying to get out of the way. He didn't at all. He just lay there, didn't move, and it just gives them another opportunity.
Yeah, you may not physically be able to move, but you can talk to the referee still. Yeah. Say, sir, can't get away, and he didn't seem to be doing that.
Exactly, and sometimes you get held in. It's not always that easy to roll away. You get held in by the opposition. They put the ball onto you to make out that you're not rolling away. But there, he just led. He laid completely still and didn't give the referee any other option but to award a penalty.
You get a feeling that Trent haven't quite got this referee on their side. A few too many penalties for not rolling away at the ruck now. I'm sure their head coach Neil Folkes will have something to say about that at half-time. Of course, he's the forwards coach for Nottingham Rugby as well. But Exeter rolling this one now. They have good momentum on this ball. It's still moving. The referee happy with this one. Bagwell out the back. Just trying to see who it's in the hands of. It's in the hands of Madison, the flanker. This could be a great time to score for Exeter just before half-time. Are they over the line? And yes, and that is a try. And that was almost too easy for Exeter there. And I think that was Felix Madison, the Exeter number 7, who managed to dot that one down in the end.
Yeah, it's normally either the hooker or the 7. It looks like it was Felix Madison that time. But as you say, far too easy. As soon as a referee called penalty, you knew there was only one winner there. The guys had to peel around the side. You see the referee's got his arm out there. And in the end, after that spell of pressure where for 5 minutes they were struggling a bit Exeter, they're back into this game. They're back into the mindset of where they were in the first 20. And now 18-0. It's a long way back.
This is just come from the clearance kick from the kickoff from deep inside the Exeter 22. It was a Trent line out inside the Exeter half. It was a curveball, wasn't straight. And it's just given Exeter an opportunity here for a pretty easy score. They've not had to work very hard for that one.
Well, that's exactly what we said earlier. And I said that Nottingham, every time they got the ball, they were having to work their socks off through 10, sometimes 12 phases to get anywhere. Exeter, not always from their brilliant attacking play, but from mistakes from Nottingham, are finding it far easier to get up the other end. And as you say, 3-4 phases later, they're scoring a try. Far too easy.
Ted Landry off the post there. That's his first one he's missed today. 39 minutes played and it's 18 points to Exeter and nothing on the board for Nottingham Trent.
Yeah, what a crucial time to score for Exeter. 13-0, you're still in the game. 2 tries, 2 converted tries from Nottingham, and they're obviously back in the lead. But with 18-0 now, a completely different picture. They will need to be, you feel, the next side to score. Yeah, it doesn't have to be before half-time, brilliant if it is, but they need to score the next points, whether it's 3 or 5 or 7.
They certainly need to get out of the blocks on this kick-off. Almost a good take by the captain Hall, but it's collected by Exeter's captain Linsell. Knocked forward though, off a green hand, chest or shoulder.
It was interesting, that one. It looked as if it had been knocked on slightly by Hall as he went to catch it. And then it, you might see here, as he goes up here,
Just
difficult to see, just out of shot there, but I'm pretty sure it got knocked on initially. The referee's called it. Left-hand scrum, really good attacking opportunity here for Nottingham Trent.
A moment like those which can give you a bit of momentum, and you know they could get a penalty outside the post here, get 3 points and go into half-time with a score on the board, which is mentally a big difference.
Well, especially they've been so out of the game, and you know a scrum is probably exactly what they need. It's the only part of the game they've got parity or been in the ascendancy of. So an opportunity here, as you say, to psychologically, it's huge for them.
So Nottingham Trent with the put-in, just inside the Exeter 10-metre line, 6 metres in from this near touch line. Crocker with the put-in at the scrum. Solid platform for Trent here. What can Ben Smith, the replacement prop for Trent, do here? And it's a solid platform, flat into the hands of Sutton. Sutton takes it into contact. Options in the middle here. They choose to go into the hands of Hall. Hall looks for a gap, tries to dart through. First time we've really seen him open his leg, and he tries to go again. Supported now by his forwards. Taken through the ruck. Jones laying it off to Snelling. Snelling on the right-hand side of the pitch. Crocker, oof, big hit there, big contest. And I think that is knocked on, was that?
No, it was just holding on in the tackle.
Oh,
that is the difference. That is, they are slowing the ball up when they need to at the right times. Their decision making at the breakdown has been absolutely brilliant. And you saw there the offensive tackle. What that creates is opportunity for the second guy to get on the ball, because no one else can get near him because he's gone backwards, and that's the difference defensively. When the ball has been so slow for Nottingham, it's given the chance to Exeter's line speed to get that offensive tackle in, and then you get turnovers like that. So, you know, very, very good, not just in attack from Exeter, but in defence there as well.
You almost felt the life sucked out of Trent when that hit came in, didn't it? And you could almost feel the excitement of the Exeter players as they knew they'd get that ball back. But it's almost been a good show of how an important and solid back row can be in this game so far. Moving the ball though for Haynes down this right touchline. Bow trying to keep the ball live, almost rolled in. Rouse keeping it in there. Morley trying to skip past a few. He tries to fumble it. And Bow looking for a ball carrier. Madison, the try scorer, takes it into contact. Slow ball for Bagwell into the hands of Landry. Kelly looking for this outside arc, potentially a bit forward there, and the referee sees that. Didn't have to be, but just perhaps not running as straight as he could do there, Kieran Kelly. Half-time though, and the score at half-time, the home side, Nottingham Trent 0, University of Exeter 18. And we shall be back in just a few moments' time. A few highlights of this half. Well, not many for Nottingham Trent, but Exeter showing why they are, again this season, a force to be reckoned with. They've certainly got a few demons to fight, and they're knocking them out of the closet so far in this game. Half-time score, Nottingham Trent 0, University of Exeter 18.
So, half-time at Lady Bay. And an introduction to the big time for Nottingham Trent. We're joined by John Hargreaves, the injured Nottingham captain. We're fortunate to have you. Hugo's back from the commentary box. What do you reckon, John? First half for you guys.
I think obviously it was a tough taster, sort of like being thrown in the deep end, as it were, playing against Exeter. But I think the lads have fared pretty well. Obviously, it's going to be a tale of two halves, I'd say. Obviously, we're into the wind at the moment, so things may change in the second half. But at the moment, I think the lads have fared pretty well physically. But holding on to the ball and perhaps getting into our shape may help us a little bit more. But so far, so good, I'd say. Yeah,
they started brightly, but you had a real nice patch there from the 20-minute mark on. But then a bit of decision-making has maybe let you guys down.
Yeah, I think obviously playing upper level, perhaps just putting your foot on the board and slowing it down a little bit with that experience. Obviously, since it's new to us, obviously we might struggle in that sense, but you never know what's going to happen.
What do you think, Hugo?
Yeah, I think the contrast in it at the moment is the speed of the ball. You know, Exeter are getting ball that is just lightning quick, and what that's doing is it's giving the likes of Morley and Ted Landry space to give the ball to Mike Haynes in the outside channel, and there's just far too much space. And Bogue as well, just out wide. They've got real threats all over the pitch, and the forwards are giving them that quick ball. James McRae, the captain as well, just getting over the gain line off first, second phase ball, and it's just meaning that it's the Nottingham defence hasn't got time to get in position.
Yeah, the shots are going in from the Trent boys, but as you said, the speed of the ball, they can't cope with it. Do you feel that the Trent pack should be working a bit harder to get into the line, or it's a case of they need to be slowing this ball up somehow?
I think off first phase and off set piece, they've just got to get more offensive in the tackle. They've just got to go, get that line speed up, get up there and spoil that first phase. There's no point giving them an opportunity to build momentum, and that's what I feel has been happening. And with Exeter, you give them momentum, the sort of quality they've got out there, it just becomes a bit of a snowball effect. And you know, to be fair to them, Exeter have been pretty clinical.
They've been pretty clinical, but you were looking at going in half-time 10-0 down, which after the start you looked a little bit shell-shocked. You would have been pretty happy with, I think.
Yeah, I think obviously, as I said earlier, we are playing into the wind in that first half. Like, the boys will come out, perhaps there might be a few changes, and with the wind behind us, anything can happen.
Yeah, but your scrum is very, very strong. I think you're looking on top there, and you're getting some great purchase down the left flank as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah.
Well, what's interesting for me as well is that when they went Nottingham Trent 3 or 4 phases and then put the little dinks in behind, then all played for territory, they got more reward for that. We saw here, you know, a few fumbles by Exeter, very nearly in the corner, a break by the hooker through the middle as well. There was opportunities there, so they've got to take a bit of belief from that and build on it into the second half.
Yeah, so I think Exeter, they've taken their opportunities. They've been very, very clinical. Trent, as he said, had that opportunity down there, but every time that Exeter have got into the red zone, they come away with points.
Yeah, they've looked pretty lethal, and they've got some real good ball players. You know, talked about Morley, the left foot, and Landry with the right foot. You know, they've got a real balance in their team that really helps them when they get in that final third. James McRae, that try where the big second row captain just went hard at the line. You know, great effort from him as well. So.
Yeah, so about Morley, I voiced surprise that they had a new 10, but like Jon Snow, I know nothing basically. The guy can play, can't he?
Well, it's been a good. He looks like a good footballer. He's comfortable on the ball, you know, and he's got a guy outside him that's got loads of confidence and has played at this level for a long time. So, you know, again, we talked about that the England axis that they have with Ford and Farrell. It's very similar, and it gives them a balance, both in attack and defence.
Yeah. Right, John, you probably want to get back in a second, but what would you be saying to the troops if you had the armband today?
I think just obviously come out of the second half like all guns blazing, and also when you play against top sides like Exeter, when you leave their 22 without any points, sort of you're going to fall by the wayside. So every single time you get into their half, you need to really pay the price, and you need to go and score points. So that's what we're telling the boys.
All right, I'll let you get back off because I know that you're going to want to get in there. Okay.
Cheers,
so thanks very much, mate.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Cheers.
So, So we've identified Morley, but the Exeter back row factory continues to produce absolute animals. So McRae has been marauding, but the guy, Luke Pierre Pugh at 6, has put in some hideous shots.
Yeah, and it's the balance, isn't it, of a back row? You're always talking about a balance, but you're also talking about guys to replace. We spoke about, are they going to be as good as they were last year without Lauday? Lauday scored 10 tries. You know, we know that Exeter were one of the bigger point scorers in the league. Could they replace him? Well, we've just seen the answer there. James McRae is everywhere.
Yeah.
If he's not taking it off 9 or 10, he's in the outside channel running hard lines as if he's a 15. You know, it's brilliant to watch, and they've got such a complete all-round game, and that's what excites me about this team.
They look very, very athletic, very well conditioned, and those big plays are crucial. The shot that the 6 put in there, that was a chance for Trent to get on the scoreboard just before half-time, and then he absolutely melted the Trent player. Turnover, end of the half. They go in 18 points up.
Yeah, it was a key moment. We talk about the next score. We talk about them coming back into the game. They're 18-0 down. They need to be the next team to score. What happens? The flood. Absolutely huge hit, opportunity, decision-making at the breakdown to get on the ball. That's exactly what happens. They get on the ball and they turn it over, and suddenly 18-0 could have been 18-3. It wasn't, and Nottingham have got a mountain to climb.
Yeah, where'd you go for them? Because they had that period when they were actually playing some ball. They had the ball. They were in the opposition territory, but they came away with nothing. Then conceded those 8 points at the end. It's disappointing for them, disheartening.
Yeah, I worry for them a bit, because we talk about, you know, Exeter being clinical when they get in the final third. Unfortunately for Nottingham Trent, they've had one opportunity really where they've got in the opposition 22 and they came away with nothing. They turned the ball over. Exeter suddenly 4 phases later scored their own try, and that's how easy it's been for Exeter. You know, they haven't had to work as hard. Yes, they played some outstanding rugby, but there's also been, they fed off errors from Nottingham Trent.
Yeah, I mentioned that Trent looked a little bit shell-shocked at the start of the game. One thing that's been a dominant presence down watching from the touchline is the level of chatter amongst the Exeter players. They are constantly geeing each other up, like intimidating the opposition vocally. They're a tight unit, and they all seem to know what they're doing and directing each other. Yeah,
you only have to look at halfway line before the game. All of them, the whole squad, there's probably 30 or 40 of them just encircled around with Keith Fleming in the middle. They're a tight-knit unit. They're very well coached. They're very well drilled. The structure of everything behind the scenes from a coaching perspective is absolutely excellent, and I feel that just makes it far easier for any player coming into the team. We've seen guys out there today that are new to this. They haven't played at this level necessarily. They've come in, and every single one of those Exeter guys are performing at the moment.
Yeah, they're very, very confident, and while we've voiced concerns about them losing players, it's almost a case of inheriting the jersey and doing that jersey honour.
Yeah, you've got to go out there and do it. You know, play with the pride that all the guys before have done that, and you know, you look at we've talked about it already, but Lauday and James McRae. You know, you wouldn't feel as if you've lost Lauday because of the way he's played tonight. You know, it's really exciting for Exeter going forward, but I feel they can only get better. You know, this is the first game. There's always a bit of rust there in the actual league setup, and they'll only get better as the season goes on.
So, what is the plan of action for Nottingham Trent when they come out now? How do they get some points on the board and start to erode this lead that Exeter have?
They're not going to score from 70 or 80 metres. From what I've seen in that half, they've got a few individuals that can make things happen, but they're more of a unit, they're more of a team. They've got to work together, work their socks off both in attack and defence, but also play territory. You know, they're not going to score, as I say, so they've got to get the ball down, play a few phases, move the defence around, move the backfield players around. Mike Haynes, just get him going from side to side and find grass. If they can find grass, get the ball out deep, and then they can put pressure on.
Yeah.
They can't put pressure on when they're 10 metres, 20 metres from their line. It's got to be 20 metres from the Exeter line. So
the wind in their sails for the second half is going to help with that. Do you think it's played a big factor in this half?
I don't think so, no. I think because Exeter have played rugby. They haven't really kicked that much. When they have kicked from deep, they've kicked well because they've got so many options. Bagwell, you know, Morley and Landry, they've all got really good kicking games. So I think it will play a bigger factor for Nottingham Trent because they're going to need to kick to get that territory. They're not going to score otherwise. They need territory.
And Exeter, they're ambitious. They're not going to be satisfied with a win. They're going to want to go for the jugular. Is that what Keith Fleming's telling them in the sheds?
It is, yeah, but also the way they play, it'll be suited to play into a wind. You know, they like to play rugby. We spoke about this on Wednesday with Leeds Beckett. Didn't matter the wind, they wanted to play rugby. So same with Exeter, I'm expecting more of the same from them. If they can be as accurate, it could be a good day for them.
Good stuff. Okay, right, I'll let you shoot off to the commentary box, Hugo.
Thank you very much.
Getting our money's worth out of you today. So there you have it, guys. The teams are running out now. Nottingham Trent with a mountain to climb, 18 points to 0 down against Exeter University. I'm going to throw you back up to Scotty, who's going to call you for the rest of the game. Enjoy the half.
Thanks, Joe. A big second half awaits the home side, Nottingham Trent here. A lot of fans have come out for them today. I think more are going to be rolling in as we get towards this second half. Have to see if there are any changes. Not been notified of any. Perhaps will be an interesting component for Exeter. They will be playing into the wind and will have the sun in their eyes. Exeter in the green, playing from right to left. Trent from left to right in the beautiful baby pink shirts. Sam Morley, the Exeter fly half, to restart the second half. This is round 1 of the BUCS Super Rugby. The first time these two have met. Exeter leading 18 points to 0. Nottingham Trent trying to create a platform in the second half, just outside their own 22 now. Crocker into the hands of Ben Smith. Ben Smith, the front row replacement we saw on the half-hour mark. Into the air by Crocker. Not much airtime on that one. Just mentioned at half-time, the Exeter back rower, McRae's already got his hands on the ball. Light blue scrum hat, can't miss him. Already giving some momentum to the visitors here. Rouse, seen a lot of him in this game, what a workhorse. He's taking the ball back into the Trent half. Morley over the top, into the hands of Mabogue. Mabogue trying to put his foot on the gas, shrugs off one tackle, comes back inside, looking for a gap, he needs some support. Felled to the ground. Bagwell moving it into the hands of Rouse once again. Coming towards this near touchline. Morley nice and flat there. Gosling, the hooker. Landry now using his centre partner, Kieran Kelly. Bagwell finding one of the big men. Trent almost trying to steal this here. Have they got it into the hands of Farnworth? Farnworth, we saw him with his big run in the first half. Good momentum now for Trent. Great steal. They should take a lot of pleasure from that. Oh, but it's fumbled by Sutton, and it's those small margins where he looked as if he was already making the kick before he got the ball in his hands there. Bagwell, though, and Landry looking to move this ball. McRae going through a gap, shrugged down, knocked to ground by David Williams of Trent. The referee there, just well, what a great sunset we have there, just looking over Lady Bay, but a frantic period of play there, Hugo.
Yeah, and just when you needed them to, the right option back in the pocket, saw an opportunity, saw space, they'd got a bit of momentum, but then straight in the breadbasket, took his eye off the ball before he got it, and an opportunity again for Exeter, but those first few minutes were better from Nottingham.
Certainly they stole possession well off the floor at the ruck, just inside their own half. That was giving them good momentum. They'd set up a good platform. Sutton was there ready for the kick into the corner, but not quite the right execution.
Yeah, and we've seen it a few times, not from Sutton, but just from, you know, the line out just underneath us at half time from Jake Farnworth, not straight. So when they've got themselves, finally got the ball back, they then make an error, and it just can't happen. You know, if they want to get back into this game, they need to get down there and make the most of their opportunities.
You know, we've spoken about already in this game the quality of the Exeter players, and I think we've just seen there Will Sutton's coming off, took a bit of a knock after knocking that one on. So onto the pitch is Lewis Dorey, the replacement fly half. Saw him sinking a few goals in the warm-up. But Bagwell for Exeter with the put in at the scrum. Good solid scrum from both sides there. McRae picking it up on to Bagwell. Morley, oh, straight through the middle was Haynes there. Great straight flat line. Not releasing from Exeter, so Trent have the penalty, and big cheers all around Lady Bay here for the home side.
Yeah, brilliant work on the floor by Harry Clemson. The tackle was low. We spoke about that in the first half. They were going maybe a bit too high. Just get the extra runners, big runners. Haynes there, huge hard line on the floor, but Clemson, you know, he was the first man there, and this has given them an opportunity if he's made touch. Yes, he has. So first chance in this second half, deep into this Exeter half.
Great tackle by Clemson. The speed at which Haynes came at him, he didn't really have much chance to think about it, but he sat his man down very well indeed.
And then the speed of thought to get on his feet again and make the steal. Now that's what they need. They need that heart from this Nottingham Trent side just to get back in the game.
Farnworth with the line out, no curve balls this time. It's not gone to a pink hand, it's tapped back by Exeter. Trying to come up this near touch line is Dom Thorne. Dom Thorne trying to skip away, and he's outside his own 22 now. Linsell, the captain and try scorer in this game. Crashing it up. Morley's in the pocket on his left boot, and this hasn't gone to touch. Didn't get enough of an angle on it there. Williams, though, with the ball in hand, looking for a few gaps, runs straight into an Exeter tackler. Still makes a good 15 metres. Crocker trying to move this one wide through the replacement fly half, Dory. Very, very flat from Trent. There's nobody really coming from deep at pace at the moment. Slow ball, though, taken into contact by Jamie Jack. Fumbled, though, on the floor. The referee there just penalising Exeter for playing the ball on the floor, so another good opportunity to steal some momentum for Trent.
Yeah, and every little thing just going for Nottingham Trent at the moment, as you say. No real direction with that first phase attack, but managed to keep hold of the ball. And as the ball came back here, good hard line, a very, very aggressive tackle. But I think it was Will Cutbull on the floor as he made the tackle. It's fine if you rip it before the ball goes to deck, but he did it as he hit the deck, and the referee, I think, made the right call there. So another opportunity here. They have to make the most of one of these. They can't just keep coughing up possession, giving the ball back to Exeter.
So Jamie Jack, another opportunity here to hit the hands, and he's found Tim Cardell. But a great shove from Exeter. Look at them sending this pink forward pack backwards, but they now have some momentum. Trent trying to truck and trailer this one, weaseling their way into the Exeter 22-metre line. Can't quite see who it's in the hands of there. Probably is Farnworth, but it's just exchanged hands. Recycling defenders well, though, Exeter. They're just trying to stop the momentum. It's gone to ground. They need to do something with this now. It's a pink scrum.
Maul was finished. Maul was finished. He detached. He detached away from the maul. All right, so Maul was finished. So you can't take a chap in. It was a mess. Pink scrum.
So the referee penalising Exeter there, and another opportunity. We know how good the pink scrum is. So can they create some platform for their backs to finish off in the corner?
This is the perfect scrum to get it. You know, you've got Aaron Bagwell has to defend on the far side in case the 8 picks with the winger there as well. So in effect, this Exeter backline is one man short. They've got to make the most of it. They've got to have come up with a clinical backline move to break down this strong Exeter defence.
Solid platform here. Crocker trying to get this one away, straight into the hands of Williams. Can he find a hole? Skips between 2 tacklers. They need quick ball, perhaps not as quick as it could be. A dink over the top, not gone to a pink hand, straight to Dom Thorne on the Exeter wing. And that was just slightly panicky there, would you say, from Lewis Dory?
Yeah, just a lack of confidence as well. You know, you've gone over the gain line, first of all, with David Williams, and then suddenly, you know, just lack of confidence to go through the hands and give the ball back straight away to Exeter. But here they go again. Let's see what they can do this time.
Well taken by Graham on the right wing. coming back into the middle through Clemson. Clemson finding Williams. Williams trying to find a hole. Williams is going to go all the way under the post. David Williams. The Trent army roars. What an individual score. The poor clearance kick from Ted Landry of Exeter, well taken by Graham. His pass almost looked as if it had gone wayward there and into an Exeter hand, but the gap through the middle and the afterburners from David Williams. He's played in the Championship for Nottingham. And looking in here, Clemson, good show and go, straight through the middle in one hand. With a bit of a dive at the line, perhaps not Chris Ashton's swan dive-esque, but
yeah, but you felt they needed a bit of individual brilliance, and there, the ball's in the air for a long time. You thought Salem Boge would go and intercept it, but David Williams, David Williams,
David Williams,
brilliant work from him. He just showed that extra turn of pace. They needed something just to come out of nothing, and I felt, yes, that was a bit speculative initially, but the finish was absolutely outstanding.
Fantastic, and it did seem as if Exeter was so tucked into this corner because they thought it was going to go for into touch. There was so much space on that far side. I think Williams didn't necessarily have to go on his own. He could have passed it off and they would have gone in the corner.
Yeah, and in the end he had to straighten out the balls going across the pitch, and you felt someone just had to straighten out. That's exactly what he did, and a real turn of pace from him. And suddenly, from being completely dominated in the first half, we've got a game on.
Score now, Nottingham 7, Exeter 18, 49 minutes played. We said the next scorer had to be from a pink shirt, and it has been. Dory this time, a much better kick. Perhaps, no, it's not gone to touch. Straight into the hands of the big man, McRae. Now he will pick out any man and run straight at him, and he has done. Well tackled though by Graham. Rouse. Boshed from Jack Rouse, the Exeter second row. Bagwell into the hands of Morley. Landry trying to find some space. A huge hit from Williams. A one-man team at the moment. Those are the hits that can change games. Give people that extra boost, a couple of 1%ers. Morley trying to skip through a couple of tackles, and Bogue on the back foot. He's just rolling backwards on his head there, almost a bit of breakdancing move, but
it's amazing though, isn't it? We've seen the confidence that try brings. David Williams scores the try, and then that in defence, absolutely outstanding. And the eagerness you can see from this, get off the line at the moment. Everyone is flying up, putting these Exeter runners under pressure. It's exactly what those Nottingham Trent coaches will be wanting.
Exeter looking slightly lost at the moment. They have been going backwards. Linsell taking it into contact. Morley trying to go on his own, finding a gap. He has no one. The referee, though, penalty to Nottingham, crossing. Another opportunity. They just need to put this one in the corner, I feel. Or would you go for the kick? You have the wind.
Well, you think they just want to take the points, but it depends what they are. We haven't really experienced the length of their 10s kicker. Lewis Dory's probably kicking as well, having come on the pitch. No, they're going for the corner. But for me, you can just see when Exeter are put under pressure, which they have been for the last 5 or 6 minutes, they lose their shape. Their structures are brilliant when everything's going their way, but as soon as they're put under a bit of pressure, they get narrow. We haven't seen that at all. They've kept their width, and they've had loads of options. But this will be interesting. Can Nottingham Trent keep this up? Keep this pressure up, especially defensively against this Exeter attack. If they can do that, then they're in with a sniff.
That kick, though, from Dory, perhaps not as deep as it needed to be. We've seen them slightly, how would you say, flaky from the line-out so far. Substitution, though, for Exeter. Rory Lorimer coming on. Lorimer, part of the squad in the final at Twickenham earlier this year.
Stay bound 2.
Good line-out ball for a change for Nottingham Trent. Just trying to get some momentum. They're walking this one. It worked well for them earlier on. They got some good meters. Peeling off around the back, Farnworth. We've seen his legs already in the first half. He knows how to run. Out the back. Ooh. Well taken, though, by Clemson. Dory just flinging the pass without looking there. Crocker trying to find his man, Williams. Williams is going to score again here. What a finish! Nottingham Trent are back in this game. He had to work for that one. That was not an easy finish for David Williams. David Williams, straight off the shoulder of Crocker. He came in, he's wearing 14. He's now, for the past 10 minutes, been playing on the left wing. So he came in off the left wing and has scored right between the posts yet again. Hugo, a finish you'd be proud of there.
That's amazing what a try does, isn't it? The confidence that they've gained across the whole team. But David Williams, he has been, everything he's done in the last 5 minutes has been absolutely outstanding. The first try, the turn of pace as well. You just see, just hovering around the shoulder of the 9. You've got to give him credit to Alex Crocker there. He's just around the base. As he takes the ball right to the line. And just David Williams just offering himself around the fringes, and the pace through that gap. Absolutely brilliant.
I mean, it was a perfect line. He hit the gap just at the right timing. He hit it very late. Crocker's timing of the pass, he knew his man was there.
And you mentioned Chris Ashton-esque of the dive, the swan dive for the last try. Well, that was the poaching of Chris Ashton in his prime. You know, he was right there, sniffing around the ball carrier, right at the right time, pace onto the ball. And it was from that man, Crocker.
9-3, please, 9-3.
Really good vision from Crocker there around the fringes.
Successful conversion from Lewis Story, so that now takes Nottingham Trent within 4 points. And you know, just before half-time, you wouldn't have imagined this sort of comeback. We said that's what they needed, but you know, Hargreaves at half-time, the club captain for Nottingham Trent, did say anything can happen with a win behind him, and I wasn't so sure, but I certainly shouldn't have had any doubt.
Well, ironically, the wind hasn't played a part in anything, to be honest. I mean, they've scored tries from sort of 40 metres out from Exeter. Exeter have done everything that they did well in the first half. They've done badly in the second, and defensively, they're normally so strong organisationally. Attack, they normally keep their structures as we speak. A chance here to get themselves back in the game, but they need some points on the board now. They've been under the cosh, they've made errors. You know, it's not the Exeter we know, and Nottingham are putting them under pressure.
Yeah, and I think they're going to go for the posts here, are they? No, for the corner via the left boot of their fly half, Sam Morley. So they just need at the moment Exeter, their experienced players. You know, they've got 8 players in their team who were at the final in Twickenham earlier this year, and for the last however many minutes of this half, 15 minutes, they've not really been present, have they? No,
but I think this will show the true class of this Exeter team. They've been put under pressure. They had a great first half. How do they respond? How do they bounce back from 15, 20 minutes of Nottingham dominance? We hadn't seen anything from Nottingham, and suddenly the crowd are behind them, and you know, they're really putting Exeter under pressure. But here's another chance, opportunity.
Exeter trying to walk this one. We saw it successfully in the first half from Felix Madison. Bagwell trying to move it. Haynes in his hand now, trying to skip through the centre of the field, the fullback. Crashed up by Linsell, the captain and try scorer in the first half. Again, trying to go wide. Kieran Kelly in the black scrum hat, taking it into contact. They come towards this near side once again. Well tackled, though, by Trent. McRae, ever present in this game so far, bundling forward on his own. Linsell crashing, trying to weasel his way through. Have they found a hole? No, they haven't. Again, solid defence from Trent, but it's fumbled by Exeter on the floor. Trent have this one back. Huge cheers. Can you hear the Trent army? Cleared away, not very well. It's going to go into the hands of Dom Thorne. Ooh! Dom Thorne there, just taken out in the air by double try scorer David Williams.
There's nothing stopping David Williams at the moment, is there? He is on a mission. You've got to be very careful here. The referee had blown his whistle. Let's see what he says here. What's his decision?
I think the way it's been going this the last season, certainly anybody in the air that was taken out was a card, and maybe he's given the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah, so unfortunate. You can see the eagerness from David Williams. He was so keen to get there. He's been ever present in everything that's been good about Nottingham in the last 10 minutes, but just too eager there, and almost nothing he could do by the time he got there.
I would certainly say he's very lucky to still be on the pitch after that one. People have been binned for a lot less, and I'm sure Elliot Daly of Wasps would tell you that.
I think the referee was lenient with the fact that he'd already blown his whistle. You know, the game had stopped, and it's just a bit unfortunate that collision happened, but they'll be delighted. They're still with their 15-man complement.
Exeter trying to move this one now. Tetlandre, their inside centre, finding a gap in midfield. McRae trying to bundle his way over, looks for some support. And he's found Lorimer. Lorimer trying to sniff out a gap. Jack Rouse just being held up. Good defence from Trent though, slowing this one up nicely. Again, the ball being moved out through the hands here. Not trying to ship it too wide at the moment. They're trying to keep it nice and tight. Kieran Kelly into contact, well tackled by Clemson. Landry trying to show some footwork. Callum Moore, the skipper for Trent, taking him to ground. McRae and Ryu. Not really gaining any meterage at the moment, but they have numbers over if they can get it through the hands. And Exeter have gone over via Mike Haynes over the far touchline. And that is a bit of a sucker punch to a solid Trent defence over the past few minutes.
And what brilliant hands in the outside channel there from Jack Rouse. We talked about the skill set that's needed at this level, you know, from forwards and backs. Jack Rouse got the ball. We'll see it here. First the carry by Linsell, the captain. He's been ever present around the fringes, but look at these hands here. Quick hands, brilliant work. And you want that man on the end of it. We saw he butchered one in the first half, but this time a good finish, and the class side that Exeter are just coming straight back into it.
It was a really great pass from Rouse. It was at his chest, and he just had a tenth of a second, if that, to try and get it away, and he did so. A good finish from Mike Haynes. Persistent though from Exeter. They worked hard for that one, didn't really find a way initially, but they kept moving it left, right, working forward through the big men, and then found a bit of a space.
Yeah, there's definitely been a conscious effort from Nottingham to go lower in the tackle. You can see they're trying to get the Exeter players on the floor quicker so they can compete on the ball, but Exeter just had too much of it there and went through the phases and managed to score in the corner, and suddenly the game swinging roundabouts again has a different complexion again.
Missed kick from Ted Landry, but he did have approximately 60 or so Nottingham supporters here who were jeering him as he was lining up that kick, so perhaps not so sportsmanlike.
Yeah, they very much enjoyed that. Ted Landry, the star player for Exeter Uni, missing one for once.
Exeter already, you sense they have their tails up. Substitute scrum half for them, Max Himbury, with the clearance, sent that high and long. It's going to go into the hands of Graham, moves it back into the middle via Craven. Dory trying to wriggle his way out of a gap. Trent just needing to get men behind the ball here. Williams, ooh, he looked as if he was going again, but wow, I feel sorry for his ribs after witnessing that one, but perhaps just getting his payback maybe for his high tackle on Dom Thorne.
That man, Luke Pierre Rioux, has just had an absolutely outstanding game in defence.
The silent assassin.
Every time anyone runs at him, he is running faster at them in defence than they are running at him, and they just, you can see David Williams there limping back to the physio. There was only one winner there.
Yeah, he wants a lot of the ball at the minute, does David Williams, but perhaps won't be running down that channel again.
You have to say this back row for Exeter, a real good blend in it. You know, you got the ball carrying James McRae, and then you've got Ryu there, who's just defensive animal. Oh, here's a chance.
Ball pass back. Oh, but Williams again in his hands. Interception. He's trying to find a man. Perhaps poor timing as he's still recovering from his rib cruncher a few moments ago. Over the top from Craven, bounced off an Exeter man. He's picked it up. Tackled though just outside the Exeter 22. Dory trying to find a man. It's into the hands of Cardle. Cardle on this near touchline, creeping his way into the Exeter 22. Good hands, just fallen down though. Not quite sure what went on there, but that was frantic. I'm sure that had come forward off a Nottingham player, but Williams, with the interception, broke the way through and it fumbled here.
I think the scrum half actually passed it to his player who was looking the other way, and it just rebounded off him, and it bounced the one guy you would have normally wanted on the ball, David Williams, but unfortunately he's down with a bit of a, well, by the looks of things, cramp at the moment. He went through, and you would have backed him to get his hat-trick. You know, even with 2 to beat, he's got some serious gas, but unfortunately he looks like he's been in the wars ever since that tackle, and they'll be hoping that he can get back to where he was before.
You'd have maybe anticipated ordinarily a little chip over the top from Williams, run round the fullback and try and collect it and score, but certainly feeling a little bit worse for wear. Scores on the doors with 64 minutes played. Nottingham Trent 14, Exeter 23. Starman though, Williams, just looking as if he's getting some treatment on his hamstring there.
Yeah, and who would have thought 18-0 at half-time that we'd be looking at a score 23-14 with 15 minutes to go. This is anyone's game, especially the way it's breaking up. If David Williams can stay on the pitch and the game breaks up, some serious wheels, and those tiring defences, especially of Exeter's at the moment, could prove the difference.
David Williams, 2 scores for Trent so far. He seems to be okay, but a big scrum for Exeter just outside their own 22.
Coach!
Greg Dubois, number 20, with the put-in.
One thing they've struggled with, Exeter, in this second half is their kicking game out of, they haven't got any length on it. Yes, there's a win, but they've just got to get their exit plays a lot better, or try and play out of defence like they are with Ted Landry now.
Yeah, Sam Morley, who was enigmatic in the first half, but perhaps gone into his shell slightly in the last 25 minutes or so. Dubois with the box kick. Ooh! Taken out in the air was David Williams. A return of favour by Dom Thorne, who he'd taken out earlier on, but Craven now trying to run it from deep.
Let's go, Barney!
Slow ball for Trent via Crocker, taken up by Ben Smith. Trying to find some space into the hands of David Williams. He has a clear track in front of him. Williams versus Thorne, but his chip over the top straight into touch. Well, he's everywhere at the minute, is David Williams, but he seems to be struggling slightly. Look at this here. Oof.
Yeah, very lucky, weren't they, Dom Thorne, to get away with that. The referee, you could see, consulted with his touch judge. Let's see again here as he goes up. They are looking at the ball, but they don't get up to compete at all. And you would have thought that was much of the same where David Williams got penalised. So slightly unfortunate there, but you can see him with a slight hobble. If he'd kept that ball in, I still would have backed him. He is, at the moment, the player on the pitch that everyone wants to watch.
Yeah, he's everywhere at the moment, certainly heavily involved. Some replacements for Nottingham Trent. Cecil McCarthy back on in the front row, and Jacob Turner. Solid line out via Exeter. Landry going himself over the gain line. Dubois with the quick ball into the hands of Rouse. Rouse crashing over Dory. Dom Thorne off his wing now. Now we've finally seen his wheels with that outside arc of a run. Well taken though by Exeter, almost a fumble on the floor. Morley, this is what he was good at in the first half, finding that big ball out over the top. Kelly trying to go on his own, scragged down by David Williams. Morley again, looking for some support. Dubois, big ball out. Exeter scragged down centre field, 25 metres from the Nottingham Trent line. Well taken here, trying to go via Josh Peters. Peters taken down. Dubois trying to move the ball into the hands of the right wing, Mboge. Rouse again, ever present, more than happy to take a carry. He's a workhorse in the second row for Exeter. Big hits, tackles, crashes and carries from both sides at the moment. Morley into the hands of McRae. McRae still going, can't stop him. An absolute warrior, James McRae.
Keep working.
Dubois finding Blandford. Picking out Eelman. Slow ball now. You sense both sides are getting slightly tired. This opening fixture of the BUCS Super Rugby. Trent with the turnover though, and a chance to relieve some pressure. Big boot, and this time it's gone into touch. And both sides will use this as a chance to perhaps get some water and take a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, and you have to give credit to the Trent defence there, under pressure, phase after phase, wave after wave of attack from Exeter up till that last play. Absolutely brilliant direction from both Morley and Landry. Just coming unstuck, trying to offload, I think it was Callum Young in the outside channel, tried to get the ball above the tackle, and a really good aggressive hit in the outside channel from Nottingham, knocked it on.
A few players from Trent at the minute suffering from tight hamstrings, a bit of cramp. A couple of changes, it seems, for Trent. James Peachy coming in off the bench. Bit of a rejig for them. It seems as if Craven, the fullback, is going to perhaps go into the midfield. But I'm sure we'll see in just a few moments' time. 10 minutes left to play. Nottingham Trent, the home side, trail 14 points to Exeter's 23. They'll certainly be looking to try and get within 7 to get that losing bonus point. Really important to get points as you go along in the BUCS Super Rugby.
Yeah, whatever happens, you feel for Nottingham Trent. This would have been a real good first up performance from them. You know, the first half they really didn't show up. Second half they've come onto their game. They've got the crowd behind them. They've showed exactly why they deserve to be in this BUCS Super League. And 2 brilliant tries from David Williams. He's a guy to watch out for this season. I'm sure other guys will come into the reckoning as well at Nottingham Trent and show us, you know, why they, as a team, have performed so well, especially last year.
I've seen a rejig. Peachy's gone onto the wing and Williams is at fullback. And if you're Exeter, you might try and put one on him to see if he's recovered from a couple of those big hits. Solid line out from Exeter though. Dubois trying to get this one moving, plays it round the back to Morley. Morley picking out Kelly. Kelly running across the pitch, as we have seen throughout this game. Quick ball. This is more like the Exeter we know. Peters through the middle, finding a few gaps in the pink defence. Trying to get this one out, our Exeter. It seems to be a bit stuck in there. They have done. Landry picking out Blandford. Blandford coming in on a hard, straight line there. Picked and go by Landry. Big hits coming in from the home side, Nottingham Trent. They're working hard. This is their first fixture in the new BUCS Super League, promoted last year from the playoffs. Last time they played at this level of university rugby was 6 years ago. Exeter just biding their time. We've seen them in this second half do something similar, and they scored in the corner via their fullback Haynes.
Let's go up!
You sent Hugo, both these sides are just getting slightly fatigued now. The tempo slowing just a bit.
Yeah, the key moment of this game, if they can go over here. Oh, great ball from Landry. That's his. Oh, a lucky referee's called it forward. You can see maybe the wind just drifted it forward there. He thought at the time, brilliant vision from Landry, saw the outside defender come up, but it's just drifted forward. Otherwise, Mike Haynes thought he was in for another one.
Well, that was a close one. And it could have been game, set, match. Only 7 minutes left to play. Let's watch the replay here.
See here, short on numbers. He had to step in, he had to come up. Ooh.
Close one, but probably just marginally forward.
I think they've got the rub of the green in the second half with a few decisions, but as you say, you wouldn't argue either way with the referee on that occasion.
Both teams perhaps just struggling now. A bit of fatigue, as you would expect from an opening fixture.
Yeah, there's always going to be a bit of rust, a bit of fatigue, especially in the latter stages. A really good surface, as we say, and a good night for rugby. So a few guys cramping up, a few guys needing a bit more attention than they did necessarily in the first half. But yeah, it's been a good game again. We saw the game on Wednesday between Bath and Leeds Beckett. Ended in a 1-point game for Leeds Beckett, winning away from home there. And again, at half-time, Exeter, the favourites tonight, you would have expected to run away with it, but Nottingham Trent have showed us exactly, why we should watch them more closely this year and why they could be more a threat than we possibly thought at the beginning of the year.
We spoke before this game, it appeared in the first half that Nottingham Trent perhaps didn't quite have the class of Exeter, but they have a number of players who have played at sort of almost championship level or championship level with Nottingham, and similar for Exeter, so it should on paper be quite a close match teams. And
I think it's a bit of both. I think they didn't play as well as they can. The first 40 minutes for them was a game they would like to a half they'd just like to chuck away, and on the other side of it, I think they just didn't have the belief. They were doing things, they were kicking the ball when they should have held on to it. They just looked quite a few nerves, and that's understandable when you're coming into a competition that you haven't played in for so long, or never played in because it's a new competition, but at this level at least.
Yeah, you had a sense that they weren't quite sure how to go about it, but they found their feet in this second half and proved themselves very worthy of their place in this BUCS Super Rugby League. You sense that the coaches and support staff for Nottingham Trent are just watching the clock. 5 minutes left to play. They need to get within 7 points. Penalty would do. They trail 14 points to 23. Not a clean scrum there from either side, so the ref is going to reset this one.
Yeah, and you feel with the clock ticking down, they need a penalty. This is a huge scrum for them. The experience will hopefully tell for them. Cecil McCarthy back on the field. We saw him go off after half an hour. We thought it was his day done, but he's back on, holding up the fort here. And if they can get a penalty, just edge it down to halfway line, then there's any chance of them sneaking that penalty. It's a long shot to win the game. But to get a penalty and to get within 7 points, that is the number one and the first target for them.
Certainly with teams that are promoted into new leagues, just trying to get that the league table going with some sort of point on the board is really important early in the season.
Yeah, just to get something out of it. They've been under the cosh for long periods of this game. They've come back into it. They have to, you feel, take something from it and build on it into next week.
Much better scrum here from both sides. Trent walking this one forward. Exeter won't be happy, but it's a penalty. Perhaps they should try and go quickly. Not going to have that option.
No, I feel they've got to get the ball down there. They've got to get territory in order to give themselves a chance. Yes, we've seen David Williams score some brilliant tries, but they've all been when they've got within 20, 30 metres. They're not going to score from depth. Just get it down there, give yourself an opportunity and put this Exeter side under pressure again with only a few minutes to go.
Skipper Callum Hall does a good job of that. Just notches that one inside the Exeter half. They need to pick themselves back up for these final few moments. Just here, looking at that scrum. And to be fair to them, you can see their head coach is a prop. Neil Folkes joined Nottingham Rugby as a player coach. Now their forwards coach and head coach in Nottingham Trent, and they've got a good scrum.
Yeah, that's one area where you feel they've I wouldn't say dominated, but they've definitely been in the ascendancy of this Exeter pack. There's not many areas they have been, but for definitely, it's gone astray again slightly.
Should have been collected off the floor there by Nottingham Trent, but it's back in the hands of Exeter, and you sense their chance of a bonus point just slipping away. Kelly with the ball in hand, going up against his opposite number, Hall. Very impressed by the Exeter clearing out and ruck play this evening. Landry out the back to go. He's still going, skipping through, he needs some support men, surrounded by a lot of pink shirts. Dubois into the hands of Lorimer. He's still going. Trent now going back to some of their bad habits in the first half, not getting low in the tackles. McRae, well, he just seems as if he's not lost any energy this whole game. Still going hard and straight. Kelly stepping on the inside, Crocker there. Back into contact with Exeter. Morley trying to skip inside, looking for that hold, doesn't want to play the ball wide. Dubois into the hands of Blandford. Blandford trying to take them on. Scragged to the ground by Callum Hall, the captain of Nottingham Trent.
Yes,
Rouse, ruthless in the carry. Jack Rouse of Exeter, fumbled out the back. Trent looking to go here, out of their own 22. Grant Snelling giving them a platform. They have numbers over to the far side if they can use them. Into the hands of their left wing, Rob Waldron. Rob Waldron working his way down the field.
Come on, Lukey. Come on, Lukey.
Coming up for halfway on Nottingham Trent. Not long left to play. The clock says 80 minutes. They've got to go 60 metres or kick a penalty from 60. Loose pass, going out wide. Peachy stepping one, good feet from him. He's still going, needs some support though. Into the middle, a no-look pass and it's gone to floor. McCarthy picking this one up. Peachy again on his own, out the back door, good hands. Need to keep this one in play. Nottingham Trent. Crocker finding Turner. This ball needs to come a bit quicker from Trent. Craven trying to go on his own. Looked to me up here as if that one was knocked forward on the ground, but the ref didn't see it. Oh, stolen by Lorimer of Exeter. Morley going to put this one deep. It looks as if it's going to roll into touch. No, it's still in play. Peachy, can he go on his own? Tries to step. Shrugs one in a half tackle. Williams puts boot to ball. I don't think he would have perhaps realised that they would have been searching for this bonus point. The referee though says there's still time for the line out. So
yeah, you feel that David Williams has run himself into the ground. I think if he had any energy left, he would have had a crack there and gone with his pace. But you know, huge moments of back and forth play there, and I think all the players look shot to bits at the moment. They'll be pleased to get this ball probably in the next play off the field. But is there one last twist for Nottingham to get that bonus point?
In terms of scores, if Exeter scored now, that would perhaps get them up to 30 points, and it's perhaps 14-30 wouldn't be so flattering to Nottingham Trent.
No, I think they've deserved to be, within 9 points. They've come back into this game in the second half absolutely expertly, and they've done it their way. They're not the team. They're not like Exeter as a team. They haven't probably got as many stars, but they play as a team. And you can see the commitment, the support they had when they scored that second try, especially. It shows what they're going to bring to this competition this year.
Yeah, it'll be certainly interesting to see how they progress through the rest of this season. Got another 15 games after this one, so we'll next see them here on the BUCS Super Rugby live stream on the 6th of December. Back here at Lady Bay, I suspect the conditions will be slightly different. Cold Wednesday, December night from our tower here at Lady Bay. Both teams just taking the time to get some water on. Final few moments of this game. Exeter with the line out. Callum Young, number 16. Good play to hand. Landry Morley linking in the midfield. Going out wide to Mbogue. He's well tackled though. But he still goes. He's a wriggly right winger. Exeter still with a lot of energy, it seems. Their key players putting some zip into this side. Landry, what beautiful hands. McRae on the outside. He finds Blanford. Blanford trying to get an offload in. He does. The referee. Forward pass, is he saying that? I think so.
Yeah, for news there, you pass forward.
Yeah, forward pass. Unfortunate there, some great interlinking play at the death.
Yeah, they really are an exciting team to watch, aren't they, when they're in full flow? And you have to give credit, Matt Blanford, since he's come on, he's been everywhere. You know, ball carrying midfield, ball carrying out wide. He's got real pace, real elusive footwork as well. And gee, they're spot for choice, aren't they, in that back row?
Yeah, their back row. I mean, we saw last year with Lorde and Elie, two fantastic players, and it doesn't seem as if they're missed as of yet in this opening round one fixture of the BUCS Super Rugby. Trent with the put in at the scrum via Crocker. Alex Crocker there, number 9. 10 metres out from their own try line, 5 metres in from this near touch line. Big contest around the back into the hands of Peachy. Peachy, good footwork in the white boots from him. We've seen so since he's come on in this second half. Craven trying to go on his own. He finds a half gap coming up to the edge of his own 22-metre line now. Carries coming from the Nottingham Trent forwards. Osdilly there taking into contact. Cecil McCarthy trying to go through the middle. Craven going on his own. It becomes difficult in the latter stages of the game. Less space on the field. Callum Hall working hard on the floor there just to try and retain possession. There's no space on this near side. They perhaps try and need to work over the far side of this pitch. Crocker into the hands of Callum Hall, the captain. You can just see Nottingham Trent now are on their last legs. But it's turned over from Exeter. Can they have one less try here, maybe? Into Landry, over the top. Got into the hands of Himbury. Himbury trying to work down this near touchline. Keeping the ball in. Dubois to Young.
Advantage over from a knock-on.
Landry, good lofting pass, and it's Mbogue on the right-hand touchline. Has he got the gas? Tries to pop it forward to Haynes. Haynes taken into contact. Crashed up by Peters, 5 metres from this Trent line. They won't want to concede here. Landry trying to show some of his class in the final minutes of this game. Almost bundled over there, but David Williams, the right wing from Nottingham Trent, was at the bottom of that.
It looks like we've still got time for the scrum, for the reset here.
Unbelievable. I'm sure both teams will be just shocked to see this game going on. It must feel like an eternity for them, opening fixture of the season. Just see here, David Williams, I mean, taking on one of the extra front row there and holding him up over the line.
Yeah, he's done brilliantly, hasn't he? You've got to give him credit. In a losing side, he's certainly been a standout performer for this Nottingham Trent side. There's been plenty of guys on the Exeter side that have stood out. We've already talked about Landry, who's been pivotal in everything they've done going forward, but in defence, in that back row, for me, for Exeter, James McRae, Ryu, who went off, but and also the guy that came on, Matt Blanford. You know, across the board there, that back row, outstanding unit.
You'd almost say that the Exeter back row is of a classic type, wouldn't you? It's got everything that you need. Big ball carriers, snafflers at the ruck. An opportunity here, Blandford, that's your man, Hugo. Trying to step back inside, he has got very good footwork. And that is full time. Final scores here at Lady Bay in round 1 of the BUCS Super Rugby. Nottingham Trent, the home side, 14. University of Exeter, 23. A great opening game for Nottingham Trent. Last year's losing finalists, University of Exeter, well, they got out exceptionally well. They looked in control in that first half, but didn't perhaps possess the same pizzazz in the final 40 minutes. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing how both of these two teams progress throughout the rest of the season. But final scores here at Lady Bay then. Nottingham Trent 14, the University of Exeter 23. We'll be heading down pitch side in just a few moments with Joe Burns and Hugo Southwell. And we'll get a few of the players from both sides, have a chat with them, see what they made of the game. Joe, can you hear me?
Good lunch as well. One of the bottles missing.
Shame on us.
Second half, they got some decent ball, they kept the error count down, and David Williams finishing was absolutely brilliant.
They really got their act together from the word go in the second half. You get the feeling that they had a word with each other and said, do you know what, we're here, we deserve to be here, let's play to the capability that we know we're able to.
Yeah, and they just adjusted a few things in their game. For example, they went low in the tackle. You know, they were far more offensive. They got in, they got stuck into Exeter, and they put them under pressure. You know, that Exeter side for 10 minutes was rattled, and that'll give all the other teams in the league a bit of confidence to when they get Exeter under pressure, fly at them in defence, you know, unsettle them. They are a team that can struggle, and I feel that Nottingham will take a lot of positives, despite losing the game. A lot of positives from that second half.
Well, you spoke about Exeter being unsettled. We're going to catch their captain now, Simon Linsell, who's with Scott on the pitch.
Simon, good game today, 23-14. What do you make of the performance?
Yeah, overall happy to get first run out, first win on the road. It's never going to be easy, and we said our worst mistake today would be to underestimate Nottingham being the new side in the league. We knew what they'd bring. Last year they did very well in their league and they earned their promotion. So from that point of view, I think we did well, but I think we left a fair few points out there, left sort of 20, 30 points out there. Decision making at times, when to give a pass and when not to. I think we, threw some 50-50s when we should have carried, and then didn't pass some that we should have given to finish off on the wings and in the corner. But 23 points on the road, can't be too unhappy. But would have liked the bonus point.
How important was it for you guys coming into this season knowing that you got 8 players from the final, the side that played in the final at Twickenham last year, and how influential has that been in your preparation for this season? Yeah,
it's really good to have a mix of sort of old heads and new heads. We've got a lot of young talent coming through as well, which is really good to see. So to have that balance between the boys who nearly did it last year and the sort of new guys coming in to freshen things up has been really good. So. Yeah.
And after the final at Twickenham, you're obviously pretty heartbroken. You know, you were 2016 champions and second place this year. And have you done anything differently coming into this season to try and take back your title for 2018?
Not really, haven't changed much. Yeah, obviously gutting to lose last year, and it would have been great to do 2 on the bounce, but that's been and gone. That's in the past now. We're just looking at this season. We haven't really changed much. We're just sort of, trying to do the same we do, but everything just a little bit better.
So you're slightly, well, you're fast out the blocks today, but slightly tired coming into the final 20 minutes, would you say, or were you just trying to control the game at the latter stages?
No, I wouldn't say fitness was an issue. I think if you look, we were camped in their third. I'd say we were out working them, and that wasn't an issue. But as I say, it's that clarity and that decision making about when to go wide, when to carry short. That probably let us down. I don't think fitness was an issue.
So next game, big one, trying to get 2 on the bounce.
Yeah, of course. Momentum's key in this league. We found that last year. We had a slow start and it was really tough to get going again. But then when we got on a roll, it's really winning's a habit. So we'll try and do that again this year.
Okay, so let's bring in Keith Fleming. Coach Keith, what do you make of your boys today? Good performance on the road here after a long drive, I assume.
Yeah, no, the boys put in a shift. Obviously we got a lot to work on, but they put in a lot of effort. So it was a fairly good first show. So.
Anything you're looking to change for the next game?
Our execution has got to be improved. We've left some points out there, but then, as I said to the boys, Nottingham were going to be a quality side, and they were a quality side, and gave us a good test. But we've got a lot to work on. But the boys put in a shift. Good place to start.
And are there any of the young boys that have come into this side? Obviously, you've got a few old heads, but any of the young boys you were particularly impressed with today?
I would say on a whole, most of them put in a fairly even shift. But they've settled into the system fairly well, so quite pleased, yeah.
Okay, thanks very much. Cheers, Keith, thanks a lot. So Neil Folkes, Nottingham Trent coach, pleased with your boys today, 14-23?
Look, the boys put a hell of a shift in there. They worked incredibly hard, and some of the defensive sets down in the both 22s were fantastic. But ultimately, we're a little disappointed. We're not, we weren't there just to make up the numbers. We're in it to do well and win games. So we'll be disappointed with the result. We're always going to be so happy when we see effort and boys putting their bodies on the line for each other. That's always very pleasing. We've got to go away now, look at Exeter, who are probably one of the sides to beat in the division, and learn a few lessons about where they played the game and how they controlled the football.
So I'm an ex-NTU player, so I was here in 2011 when they were last at the top of the BUCS leagues, and they lost every game that season. Well, what are you thinking of this season, where your points are going to come from in this league?
Look, this league's going to be incredibly difficult all the way through. All the sides are good. Where we're at a disadvantage is we've not been in it before. So, the first 10 minutes today, we didn't really know what to expect, and Exeter were deservedly 14 points up. So that's where we've got to learn from it. We've got to understand that we are good enough to more than compete at this level. If we get our set piece right, like we did at scrum time, we've got to work on our line out and make sure that functions so we can get into our game.
So other than the line out, any other particular areas you're looking to focus on for the next game to improve on?
It'll definitely be our line out. Look, we've got a short turnaround now. We're going to Cardiff Met on Wednesday, so there's not too much you can do in a 4-day turnaround, 5-day turnaround. So it's going to be on working on freshness, on some of those trigger points around the line out, and making sure we're picking up the cues there. But if the main focus for us over the next 5 days is to bring a huge amount of energy going over to Cardiff.
And your right winger, David Williams, who's your star man today, kept you in the game. You'll be looking to utilise him as much as possible on Wednesday, I assume, if he's fit. He took a few crunches to the ribs, didn't he?
Yeah, no, God, there was some really physical bits of play out there from both sides. It's really impressive and just shows just where the BUCS Super Rugby is. It's not just a game of the ball being thrown from one side of the pitch to the other. It is physical. You only look at the scrummaging and the mauling and then those hits in the midfield to see that it's a proper league, and what a great grounding for our boys that are also paired with Nottingham Rugby to build into playing championship.
Well, Neil, thanks very much for talking to us. All the best at Cardiff at the weekend. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
No worries. Well done. Good game.
So I think the sentiment there, Hugo, is that Neil Folkes of Nottingham Trent, he's going to take a lot from this. Keith Fleming, there's work to do from Exeter.
Yeah, first half, Nottingham really weren't at the races. maybe a step up, maybe a lack of belief, but they really came onto their game in that second half, and the tries, the finishing ability, and the well-constructed tries as well. The forwards got in the game, the backs got in the game, much better for them. They'll take a lot from that second half. For Exeter, a sign of a class side is when they're put under pressure to come back and bounce back from where they were. They did exactly that. They scored a try when they were 18-14 up, when Nottingham was starting to just put them, they were starting to creak a bit, to be honest, Exeter, but they did it in the end. They proved the class they are. 23-14, they'll go back down to the southwest and build on this.
They will be disappointed to have not got that bonus point, though.
Yeah, they were at the time 18-0. You're looking at a bonus point, you know, and I think they just got a bit sloppy for the first 10-15 minutes of that second half, but they've still got the result. They're still away from home. They'll go back to Exeter, and I still feel, as I said before, they're there for the beating.
Okay, and we didn't get a chance to acknowledge the man of the match. Who was that, Hugo?
Well, for me, yeah, Ted Landry, outstanding again, but the Exeter back row as a unit were brilliant, and James McRae, right from the minute 1 to minute 80, he gave absolutely everything. You know, you can't leave without mentioning Ryu. I mean, his tackling in defence was absolutely outstanding, and he ran James McRae close, but for me, James McRae was man of the match.
Mate, excellent stuff. All right, thank you, Hugo. Very enjoyable covering another game with you. I'll see you at the next one. Yeah. So, on a day when Nottingham Trent attempted to be Robin Hoods and steal the game in the second half, Exeter proved that they are still one of the sheriffs of BUCS with 4 points here at Lady Bay. Our next game is going to be Loughborough against Hartpury next weekend up at Loughborough. Join us then. See you.